Activate transition.
I'm pretty sure there's some way I could actually activate transitions. But... Alright.
I need some kind of transition. Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Is it me you're looking for?
Sir.
No, I'm not going to burst in. I'm actually not super my best because it's, once again, friggin' hot, and I am sitting in a chair, like, sweat dripping down the back of my neck and stuff, so welcome to Warm Boy Omega.
Yeah, it's starting to...
Expect to hear a lot of bottle crinkling as I... Advanced hydration. Whoops. Rip. Somebody had their volume max. You gotta be careful with that. We're rated for headphones. Alrighty, before we go anywhere or do anything or say anything, too late. Let's shout out our patrons really quick, which includes but is not limited to Adam Tarp, Akko Comics, Akazime, Architect, Flex.g, Carlos, Dragon, Ferris, Jeremy, Esquez, Just LaFay, Jonathan Sandoval, Legendary Boss Letter, Liam Castro, Richard Raptor, Rogue Robin, Trevor, Sean Pryor, some guy named Bob, Certain Timothy, and the Crow. If you like we do, let's do more. Consider supporting on Patreon. You can get access early on some of the guys who helps us out.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, bada, hey, swing, bada. Alright. Anyway, welcome to What's Up. Lucky is in a library.
I am a library. Actually, Rush built this library mostly. Like, as soon as we got the house, Rush was just all like, I am building a library. And they did. You can see Rush there. That's my wife. Or as we like to say in the Crow's Nest, my wife. We always get to check a lot of that. Ugh.
So, you rambled about this at length on Let's Talk
Yes.
in the middle of the thing. So, do we want to just go ahead and tell the housing story now?
We can tell the housing story. So, as everyone should know, I started playing I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 off and on for like past several years. And I'm not entirely, I can't remember why entirely I got back in. Oh, it was, yeah, because they announced Endwalker, and I was just like, that sounds like my fucking jam. I want to get into that shit because, funnily enough, people usually come back into a game when they hear that it's getting a sick new expansion for some odd reason.
It's a major driving force.
It's a major driving force. So last year, February, I got back into Final Fantasy 14, and I found a bunch of yahoos who are willing to play it with me.
Yes, shockingly, having an internet-based community who all also wanted to go back in meant that you could, connect with people.
Yeah. Like I said, some hung around longer than others. But, like I said, we gathered together and we made a free company, which is basically Final Fantasy XIV's version of guilds and whatnot.
So we do actually have quite a few. We have even more 14 players on the server than we do have members of your Crow's Nest. But like I said, some of them are a little more intermittent than others.
Yeah, no, like I have a rule, like if you go like basically like almost 3 months without logging in, I just kick you out. Actually, that reminds me, I need to kick Dallas out because guess what?
Yeah.
He's been gone. If we can look here, Shifting Ash, that's his character, has not logged in 175 days, almost half a year. So, Yeetus.
Yeah, he rambles about how when he's not doing school, he'll get back into it, but that's how everything works, Dallas.
Now, so when we got the free company kept together, yeet. When we got the free company together, we was actually a couple things. Like first, we were the Church of Curvatology and whatnot, and then one poorly timed joke, forever turned us into the Crow Mafia, and we've always called ourselves the Crow's Nest. And from that moment, we said, hey, we want to get.
Holy shit, that book is huge.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like the Necropolicus or something. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Damn,
yes,
dude.
Yes, big book. Big book.
Also, so you'll get into the story, but just right now, while we're talking about it, nice internal aesthetics. You've got some classy hardwood, but you've got Japanese-ass sliding screen doors.
Oh yeah, no, like, well, actually, let me go outside. Let me show you where we are, because when we got the crew together, one of the things that we realized is that there's some content that is locked behind housing development. Like you can send out airships and submersibles and like special.
Believe you brought this up last week when the beginning of the housing crisis was happening.
Yeah. So right now we're actually in fucking Ishgard, which is basically, you know, the European holy church town. It's called Empyrean. You know, it's very, you know, northern Gothic aesthetic. As you can see, like steep peaked roofs and
yeah, I see some Gothic and Baroque ass churches in the background there.
Our house, Asian as fuck.
I'm waiting for the camera pivot. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. But
yeah, you've got the very classical Japanese high curved roof.
So we wanted a house, but especially a year ago, housing was a nightmare. That's the best way to call it. People constantly joke that, you know, Housing EX or Housing Savage is the true in-game content, because the way that housing used to work before is people necessarily didn't have limits on what they have, how many properties they can own and whatnot. So people would start, you know, buying up property and like, because the property's not like at expensive. You can get like, if you buy them at market price, like you can get like small properties for like 1 million gil, you know, 3 million gil.
Which I assume once you're at the later stages of the game content is not that much money.
It's not that much money. That's
because
like,
that, you know, if assuming that 14 is anything like a normal Final Fantasy game in its money curve, that's like, yeah, that sounds about right when you're at the end of the game.
Yeah.
You know, 9 digits.
Mm-hmm. So we decided that, but the problem is
by the way, hold on. Are you on the ground floor right now? Do you have a finished basement?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, this is a three. It's like this is a 3-tier three floor structure. We got a basement, first ground floor, and second floor.
Nice.
Suna and Naresh are in there talking about more things that they want to do, but I'm just kind of giving the tour here. Like this area right here, I'm already planning on being a kitchen dining room area. I'm just like I'm visualizing.
Yeah.
Visualizing right now.
I mean, you got the little like counter window that looks like it would be good for a kitchen or mess area.
Yeah.
You also have a shitload of square footage.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we don't have unlimited decoration space. We can only place 400 items in.
Huh? Because otherwise, you'll explode the server, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and just that library. Actually, let me double check here. Just that library that we built down there took. Let me see here. Housing, indoor furnishing. Basically 67. Basically 67. I'll probably put like 60 because we have some other things scattered around.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, you don't really think about it, but you can start using up inventory quick. So, you know, it's a lot of those things that, like, we have to go in, fine tune things, make other things work, and all that crazy stuff. But back to the story. We decided to start saving up because even though base prices are fairly cheap, they can be fairly cheap. This is not cheap. This whole house was base price is 50 million because it is literally the most expensive ward in the plot. Like it is the most expensive. 50 million. I think the one below it is like 47.5 million, and then below that it drops all the way down to 22 million. These things be pricey. I think there's only like 2 large plots per ward. And so, what we realized is people are assholes. People will buy up properties as much as they can, you know, and then turn around. They don't even have to flip them, guys. Like I said, you just turn around, mark up the price like 10 times, and then try to sell it. Oh, there's 3 large plots, excuse me. And then sell it back to people. So this house would normally be costing like, you know, 50 million. And I'm just like, not 50 million, 500 million. People are just all like, we can't do that. And the people who have it will be like, her.
Yeah, it's like, imagine a real life real estate crisis, like a housing bubble, only there is no government support, and also you can't just shiv people, which is what would happen if in an actual fantasy universe with mercenary companies who like blow up planets or whatever the fuck you do at endgame content, punch gods, and some guy was like, "Yes, I'm going to give you a 1,000% times 10 markup," and you just be like, "Cool, I'm gonna drop a meteor on you, die."
Pretty much.
And I think I said last week that this seems like that was a very clear error in the player economics when the game developers allowed players to resell player-to-player property rights. I get kind of why they would let you like transfer them, because we've talked about how you could hypothetically use it if you're in a large, free company or you have a large player base to like spread out properties amongst you. But the fact that you can put the in-game economy on it, and there's no, you can't like shiv that guy in the streets and steal his deed. It's not like Eve or whatever where you can get away with a lot of shenanigans. EVE Online very infamous for a lot of that real life stuff. So like I always thought to myself like, yes, this would create a problem, and it did.
It did. And bless the devs' heart. They care. They try to like figure out things so it makes players happier about the situation. Well, the ones that aren't completely and utterly profiting from this situation. And I gotta pull out things and look at them. And they just said when they were going to open up a new residential district, because they don't do it all at once. Final Fantasy XIV is a fucking hog on server space, and like I said, we've been having the server crisis, so they haven't been able to have enough space to like host, as many like everything they want. But they were able to finally get the Ishgard residential district up. I think they call it Empyrean. I think that's the way you pronounce it. And they said they were going to do something new. They said that they were going to do a lotto system. So basically, you put in the base price of the plot, and you'll be entered in a lottery to win it. Now, a lot of people did not like this idea. Some were. I think most people were all like, okay, this ain't the best solution, but it's a better solution than what the fuck we have going on right now. And I think that was very fair.
Where I assume it was just first come, first serve.
Pretty much, yes. Whoever ran there first got it. And like for a little while, that was our plan. Like I was doing practice runs to run from the warp in location to this thing, so I can try and snatch it up first. But luckily that's we didn't have to do that. Well, or unfortunately, it depends. So sorry, I temporarily just lost my train of thought because I looked at the chat. Yeah, it is almost kind of like that. Basically, like if it had been first come first serve, I basically would have just called out from work and be all like, no, I am staying, like just gonna be constantly clicking the log in button until I can get in and make this dash and pop all the speed buffs that I can.
Yeah, very very much like the old days of camping out for like movie premieres or video games.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, internet children. Something pre-COVID, people used to do that. They would line up all night to go to like midnight releases and camp out in front of movie theaters. I think most people stopped that sometime in the 21st century.
Probably. Where did I put that damn bust? Oh wait, I could probably nope, it's not.
But you described you were talking about doing the first come first serve, just sprinting for it. But you described it a little bit yesterday. But you developed a different cunning strategy once we realized there was lottoing going involved.
There was a lottoing involved. So because basically what they said is they released this in a dev diary not too long ago that all of the new residential plots were going to be lottery, all of them. And again, that came to some harumph and whatnot, and also that some of the wards were going to be free company only. So only people who had, excuse me, were buying for their free company can get them. Actually, it turns out that most of the, like over half of the plots are free company only plots, and that's very interesting for reasons. But, oh yeah, the pastry cupboard. But, so when we realized, Liz, that we could just go to the FC plot and just lay down a bid, like we had to basically rethink what we had to do, because the bidding period lasted, let's say, I think it lasted from Tuesday to this morning. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, basically just 5 days ish, 5 days ish. And the interesting, the problematic thing is only one person could, like, during the lotto period, you can only throw one vote no matter what. You can only have one vote for, you can have, excuse me, one bid for a personal plot or one bid for an FC plot. Now, the way to, you know, quote unquote game the system is you have you have your free company all put their bids on the one plot, therefore, you know, severely increasing your chances. And then they wouldn't be able to bid on anything else, like a personal plot. So what we had to decide to do is whether to bid early or bid late. And there's pros and cons to this, because bidding early, like I said, we decided to bid early in our place. We only had enough for 2 bids, and as you can see, it worked out. But we only had enough for 2 bids, and I had to decide between which one, because if you bid early, people who only have maybe one bid themselves are less likely to bid on yours, because they would rather go and try and find one that doesn't have any bids to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And
basically, you bid early and often, and then you muscle out the competition.
Yes,
it's like, okay, we've got 2 in, so we're here.
Yeah, and that works until the latter plan is when you bid late, shop around, and find out which ones have the least amount of bids, and then bid on those. That was our original plan. But again, I had the realization that if we actually had 5 days, I needed to do a bid to basically scare off as many people as we could. Because even though we had 2 bids on it, we still ended up having a total of 5 bids on this house, which terrified me. Again, guys, you might have heard this on Let's Talk FGO, but I was really freaking the fuck out. It was audible. I yelled about it for several minutes. Hang on, I'll get there, Akikazu Yume. So, basically, I had to drink myself to sleep last night, and woke up, just dreading it. I'm trying to just tell myself, I'm going for the most pessimistic, there's no way I could have done it, all that crazy stuff, blah 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 blah. Don't get disappointed when I don't get it, all that stuff. Get in, log in. Motherfucking surprise. Not only did we win the house, it was my actual entry that won the bid. And, just hallelujah. We finally have a large house. It's really actually interesting because we're actually a very small free company. I just kicked Dallas out because, again, he had logged in for 175 days. But we only have 6 people. That's very small. We have a lot of space. We're trying to work things in now, but upon realize, so I'm already feeling lucky that we won the house. I'm feeling also lucky that that I got the one in big, but then I realized there was a third tier to this luck, because if you've been on Final Fantasy and you follow gaming trends and whatnot, you might have seen Final Fantasy 14 housing, Final Fantasy 14 or Square Enix trending.
Yep. As you do. I have seen that off and on, yeah.
Yeah. And the reason is because there has been a bug in housing. And it's a kind of a terrifying buzz, and I've heard the people screaming. It is not pretty. Basically, a lot of the people who have basically, made their bids into housing are losing them because of a bug basically stating the entry number 0 as an entry. By the way, there is no entry number 0. That is just a bug. So people have been in this lottery pool have been losing their housing bids to entry number 0. And while they don't lose their money, because that's the lovely thing about this, when you bid your money, if you do not win, you get your bid back. Just 100% refund. I think you have a week to pick it up, though.
Well, yeah, that I assume is just so that you don't, like, be an asshole, basically, and, like, bid and go away and block it up. You have to actually, like, be there and be present and collect.
Yeah. But
yes, you get it's not like it is a bid, but it's not like a lot of auction bids where, you know, it's based on, like, loser levels to pay out. It's, no, you pay the thing. And if you don't get it, you get your money back, 100%.
Mm-hmm. So we've had this big stuff, and there's now... And, yeah, so, like, there's a big bug going around, and they're delaying the next round of lotto bids because some people have, like, lost, didn't win their bids, because there's, like I said, there's a lot of housing out there, and, free companies and stuff out there, and so, like, plenty of people have been bidding, and some people, got a lot more fortunate than I was, and I was the only bidder on their plot and still lost to entry number 0, which is painful, to say the least.
Yeah, weird.
And so there's been a lot of upset people about that. But that person is not me. I managed to get me a house. And technically I can call it my house because I am the free company master and I control who stays. Fear me. Can I actually go out this door? I can't go out this door. Yeah, so expect one day to do fucking MTV Cribs, my fucking free company house, as I finally get this thing settled. But that reminds me, I need to get the bread and cheese cabinets. Yes.
That sounds very important.
This is very important.
Alright. So there you go. Lucky got his house.
I got my house.
And I know it was very chaotic. I was kind of happy to see. I did actually, I've got the Crow's Nest muted because usually you guys are yelling about whatever in there. And it's okay. Loth cross-posts all of his funny memes anyway to the other secret gaming channel he's in, which is all of them, actually. Funny how... But I was just like, I'm very curious how the housing thing went, and I think I even saw that you retweeted about the 0 bug something, and I was like, oh, well, guess they got it. It's fine. Everything's good. Hold on, everybody. I'm going to take a deep sip of water. Because I'm so hot.
So hot.
Temperatures go down eventually. But, yeah. So that's one of the things off our list, Mm-hmm. Housing, and now you can watch interior decorating with boys.
It's an Aki duck.
Okay, we've got several other things are lovely, though.
Mm-hmm.
Accidentally blowing my mic arm there. Sorry about that. Sorry, I was briefly bamboozled on the preview screen. I saw a countertop that was way askew. I was just like, what? Fix it.
It's all about that. It's all about that adjusting and actually hitting the right button when I want to. God damn it.
Yes, interface. I I can kind of use that as a jump or something else. So you may see it in the thumbnail as well. So obviously, you know, video games happen. We play them. Lucky's been stressing about his 14 thing, but I know you've been playing a decent amount of Cyberpunk as well. So we may circle back around to that. I've done a few myself, but I have beaten Ghostwire Tokyo. I haven't gone back and gotten all the collectibles yet. I'm sure I will because I love all the little lore bits and stuff, and it's great. But you know, I tried to focus on just picking up collectibles after a while, and as much as it is entertaining to just speed run Tokyo with fucking oh god, I forgot the DJ's name. It was something.
Travels?
It's really wild. No, that's the name of the album. Is Travels.
Oh.
I don't remember. Anyway, as fun as it is to play electronic music and just power Spider-Man through Tokyo, it does get very repetitive to just be like, look, it's another construction site. Where is the random tchotchke hiding in this one? There it is. So I went ahead and finished it up. You can either New Game Plus or it resets you before you do the thing anyway. And yeah, it's about what I believe it would have been last week, like this, and also just in general my own guesses. The plot's not like groundbreaking or anything. I am kind of a little you know, I believe it's the point, but I am kind of saddened that basically the end plot is the game's been out for like weeks, and also it's not even going to be a spoiler, but spoilers. Like it ends with basically almost every literally every other named character who appears on screen. You know, we'll not count Ed because he only appears in voice logs, but everybody else but Akito dies, and I'm just kind of like, okay. You know, it's I get that that's kind of the point. We slam jammed in the last 20 minutes.
I told you, they just...
Oh, no, you were absolutely right. Like, when you actually get to Tokyo Tower, it's just your only gameplay segments are like backstory and character development or bosses. And the bosses are not that impressive. I mean, like, they're cool, like, design-wise. They did the Tsuchigumo and then whatever the fuck Hanya turns into in the very end as the final boss.
Chaos.
And, like, actually has some interesting, like, they switch up the mechanics a little bit. You gotta fight the Oni guy whose name starts with a Y, who I can't remember. Yasoko? Anyway, you gotta fight that boss fight again, and that's just kind of like, okay. He's just a big, meaty boy who throws projectiles at you, you know? It's kind of like a moveset clone thing for reasons. But, like, they really hammer, because the game was not really hammering this before, about, like, Akito's personal character arc of, like, trying to, like, get out there and, like, live for himself and acknowledge his pain or whatever. Because there's a long backstory segment of him just being kind of like the, whatever guy, you know, when him and his sister's parents died and all that other shit.
I think it's actually much more about, you know, Mono no Aware. You know, learning to let go and live in the moment, you know?
Yeah, because he does actually see his parents' spirits. They don't speak, and they've got, like, the whole get-up, but, like, he even says to them, like, don't worry, I'm gonna go now, and I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna, you know, live a fulfilled life in the moment. I still remember you and all that stuff, but I'm gonna go live my life now, and when I see you again, I'll have, you know, lived life to the fullest. Bye. Gonna walk up the steps out of the underworld. And have, you know, like... The moment with KK is very poignant. It's very appropriate, I think, where, like, they go back and forth and they say their goodbyes and, like, they have their, like, thanks for everything. They still get in some bants, though. It's kind of sad because, like, KK doesn't get the last word. But, you know, you move on. It's all right. It's always one of those things when, like, I get that it's thematically appropriate, but it's like, boy, I busted my ass for 40 hours to save my sister, and she still gets ghost nuked or something. Honey's plan is very vague. I mean, well, the mechanics of his plan. What he's actually doing is like, I'm gonna merge the ghost world and the real world and make a paradise. I'm like, dude, you're just copying Evangelion. Could you have an original idea, Japanese villains?
I think that's not fair. He literally blew off the rock that fucking Izanagi put.
Well, yeah, like there's thematic. Like he actually does. Well, at least symbolically, I don't. Because that's in the alleged entrance to Yomi is like in the middle of nowhere, Japan.
I mean, some fucking, you know, mystical otherworld place seems like middle of nowhere to me.
I guess we did. I mean, we did jump in one of the giants, so we could have like hiked a little bit. Like I said, the execution is certainly like got a lot of like more through thought. It's just his ultimate goal is just every weird dude who has like a dead wife. I don't know. Like I said, it's not really groundbreaking. The aesthetics of Ghostwire are very striking. It's the like when you remove the aesthetics and you just talk about stuff in summary, it's very straightforward. I don't think that hurts the game necessarily. It's also not necessarily bringing the game up either, though.
Well, again, I think it's what we talked about. Tokyo Ghostwire is just or Ghostwire Tokyo is just a solid game.
It's a solid game. It's got really good aesthetics. It's an experience package. It's got the music. It's got the costume vibes. I loved, seeing some of those pre-generated cutscenes of Miyazaki bumming around in my safari hat and sunglasses, with my flippy floppies, because you can go that extra mile, and it's got the payoff. Mechanically, it's very straightforward. I feel like the story structure is a little weird, like you said, and I mentioned before, when you do the point of no return, that's just like, okay, plot, boss. And I'm like, okay, geez, all right, calm down.
You're like, no.
I guess the game was a little too open world before this. Whatever.
Now we're gonna have a trippy walking sequence.
Yeah. So it's an all right game, and I enjoyed actually closing it out. It's a good experience. If you are one of our many weeby listeners, you should consider checking it out. It's solid gameplay wise. If you want to just power through the story, that is but simple. Like it is so easy to go through that, but you can get a lot more out of it doing the side quests in the collection. But like I said, there were a couple of evenings where I did nothing but like pick up collectibles, and I'm kind of like, okay, I'm getting a little burnt out just sprinting around Tokyo picking up, Netskes and, shurikens and shit.
Oh, excuse me.
So, I need some time to kill before the next big boy game release, which I'm not really sure what is next on my list. There's a couple of games that came out previously I should check out. I wonder when Sifu getting a physical release ever? Because I still haven't checked that game out. It seemed pretty rad. But the next big one might, for me, let's see, we're in April. Like, I'm interested in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, but that sounds like a good stream game. Let's see, Trek to Yomi is May 5th. That might be interesting to pick up. Yeah, I don't think I've got any like big boy titles I'm super interested in until Three Hopes in June.
Jeez!
Which will be interesting, especially since they seem to be going with Byleth as an antagonist.
I find that
and we give you a new generic interchangeable player character.
I don't want Byleth to be the bad person, though.
I mean, I do not necessarily know. It is called Three Hopes. I assume the game's not going to be like necessarily as dark as some of the routes of Three Houses were in general. Like, that seems to contradict the aesthetic. So they might just be like a rival. Oh, do you still pick 3 routes? God, that's going to be annoying, though, if it's actually like splitting it in 3 again. I don't know. I'm still interested in the game because like it's got good aesthetics, and they seem like they learned. I've heard a lot of people complaining about some of the problems with the first like Fire Emblem Warriors game. Like, you can reclass in this game, so you don't have to worry about having too many of the same characters and stuff. I'm still interested in it. We'll have a couple of months to build on, but cough.
Oh, the cheese collection is expensive. I gotta figure out.
Well, yeah, it's cheese. But that I think is everything I got. So I can scratch off my backlog over the next couple of months probably. I should probably finish Skyward Sword myself sometime so that I can continue with my advanced future knowledge. As Lucky plays through that. Check it out on stream every Monday. The other thing is I do still have Far Cry 6, which I haven't touched either. So I can pop that one open.
That'd be good.
Like, you can finally get the achievement.
I do like achievements.
So that'll be fine. I'm hearing a lot of... I'm wondering if, since we are, for me anyway, having a little bit of a lull, it may finally be time for me to actually let me check on Amazon, because I've been seeing No Man's Sky trend a lot. I think they had another big update with stuff, and I'm just like, is it finally time for me to pick up that game? It might be. Because I've always been interested in it. I just wanted to wait for some of the updates to catch up, so that might be good. Let me see. See all buying options. We got some used copies. Got anything new? Might have to wait for a restock. All used copies. I mean, I could buy a used copy. Not acceptable. Good, maybe? I'll look into that. Maybe I will pick it up digital.
Alright, I will build me a cheese collection. Alright, let's...
But, there's, like we said, there's some backlog stuff to check out as well, but nothing crazy pants. So I've needed some time to kill, basically.
Oh, excuse me.
While I do other things. So I decided to check out... Well, I decided to check out a couple of games, but I haven't played one of them, so... Lucky has noticed this in the YouTube history, but to kill time while doing other stuff like FGO grinding, etc. I've been, in addition to many other things, been going back and watching a lot of Russian Badger videos.
Yes.
Luckily, I have managed to resist the urge to boot up Siege because I would not have any idea what I was doing, and also I would not be able to buy any of the operators anyway because I think they made some of the old ones free, but it's definitely like. And this will come up. It's definitely one of those games where you still are supposed to invest a little bit of extra money besides, the full price I paid for it when it came out over the time period.
Games as a service.
Yeah. Like, Rainbow Six is still a very respectable game, and I am, at least when you're playing casual maps anyway, I've never been any good at ranked, because I refuse to talk to people on PlayStation Network or whatever. But... it's still solid and I like playing it, but also that's like every time that has been what has burned me out of Siege is just derp, I'm playing, I'm free to play, or even when I spent a little bit of money to get some premium currency, I'm still like, all right, I've got some premium currency, I can buy 2 operators. Cool, there's like 50 operators. Can I get these free to play? I would have to play like literally every hour I am awake to get enough Siege bucks or whatever, and it's just Siege like bucks. Just sucks all the life out of it. Which is very interesting because the 2 games I downloaded were War Thunder, which I have not touched at all. And I picked War Thunder over World of Tanks because War Thunder is all the things, and also it has modern stuff. I know you gotta, like, climb up the tree for that, but I'm like, I would eventually like to, like, fly jets and Apaches and M1 Abrams. Anyway. But the other was Enlisted, which is a free-to-play World War II shooter game. I have been playing a decent amount of it. And so I've put some hours in. I have some thoughts, and I'd like to talk about it. It's very interesting because this is a free-to-play game. Badger did a video on it, and I believe it was sponsored by them, so he probably got hooked up with some special content ahead of time. He does have like a promo code link, but I think it's only for the PC version. When I clicked on it, and then it's just like sign up now on PC with a bonus, and then it links other consoles, and you don't get. But whatever. I'm on PS5. It is a standalone PS5 version. In addition to PS4 and whatever.
Whatever.
And I believe it's cross-compatible because I do occasionally get murdered by people who are, it says are on PC, or at the very least using a keyboard. But I've put some hours in, and I want to start this. Much like a caveat I feel like needs to be added to Russian Badger's own video, because I'm sure he got some free advancement in there. And the game, he does not necessarily give you the impression of how much work it would actually be to pick up this game and do some of the stuff he does. It's very much a free-to-play FPS game. It kind of nickel and dimes you. You don't even start with the ability to use sidearms. You got to be like level 6 before you unlock like the Colt new service. I still can't use a 1911. Unless, of course, you get premium special battle pass guns. I'm hoping I can free-to-play enough to cruise to get the well rod and the silenced grease gun. But if not, I may have to, like, spend $5 or whatever for the unlocks. Who knows? Because that's something they've got on promo. But in general, it's very slow to get things. and you start off very basic. So you will not necessarily jump straight into the experience that you can see in like videos on the internet, but I've played a few, and I will say this. So gameplay wise, when the going is good, when things are all right, as with most multiplayer FPS games, Enlisted is immensely satisfying to play. You start by default, no matter which side of the campaign you're on. Your default rifleman combo will give you a bolt action rifle. No, you do not start with Garand. They're actually quite late in the campaign tree. I think you got to be quite a few levels up there to unlock that one. But it's, even though they're bolt action, they are very satisfying to fire. Most of them, anyway. There's the Ross rifle, which I'm just like, I don't know if it's because it has different iron sights, but I just don't think I can hit shit with it. But like, very satisfying. Work the bolt in the Springfield, bang, drop that guy. Second bang when he's down, he becomes dead. Yes, there is a down state for enemies. And you do get access to at least one submachine gun guy at level 1. And like I said, I am decent in FPS games, y'all. I don't think I'm very good, but I am not like incompetent, and I don't get motion sickness or anything. Like, I know what I'm doing if you put a controller in my hand and hand me a gun. And like I said, immensely satisfying to kick down a door in a bombed out French city street and just see the control point is a bombed out cafe full of Nazis, and just mag dump my grease gun and just watch the kill markers climb. It is satisfying. And using automatic weapons, very good. Big thumbs up. Highly recommend. Unfortunately, like I said, kind of like just the way the game is designed, I assume even if you are, blasting your ass on premium battle passes or dropping premium currency or whatever, it's still set up with a little bit of that free-to-play nickel and diminess. Like, you can't just... So, this is in Russian Badger's video, and if you know a little about Enlisted. It has a semi-unique mechanic where you control a whole squad of guys. And by control, I mean you've got usually a couple minimum brain-dead idiot AIs following you. And this is one of my major complaints about the game, is the AIs are fucking horrible. They can be trusted to if an enemy AI or enemy player happens to wander through their line of fire or fire a gun at them, they will fire in his general direction. They may actually hit some guys. I don't know if the game was designed for like PC first and there are some more complex squad commands I'm missing, but I don't think so. The primary commands are like defend here, or if you're down and they have a med kit, revive me. I don't really trust them to do most of those things, so they mostly just exist so that when you die on a spawn, you're not like dead right away. You can cycle through a few guys before you're actually out and have to respawn at a respawn point, right?
Right.
So pretty typical stuff for keeping you in the action. And yes, if you're not 100% dead right away, if you have a medkit, you can self-revive. Pretty typical stuff. So, and these are it's variable depending on what kind of squad you have, which are correlated to like real life World War II units. I don't know how accurate they are, but this is how you like unlock different squad comps. But one of the teams you start with is a like just infantry brigade, and they give you like 5 or 6 riflemen anyway. So with upgrades, you are easily packing like 10 deep squads of dudes. It's a lot of dudes. You can cycle through a lot of death. Now, unfortunately, again, because your AIs are utter incompetents who cannot defend themselves, there are occasionally times where you as the player will be alive as the first guy for a long time, and you'll get snuffed, and you'll look back and be like, hey, what happened to all my guys? Oh, they're all already dead. They got murdered a long time ago. But it's an interesting mechanic, and you can hot swap if you need different specializations, because those are also all part of the unlock tree, and then the logistics tree. You will not be able to use this mechanic very often when you're starting out, because there is this logistics menu. So it's not just that you unlock things or you upgrade things, you also have to purchase things from logistics. It's, like I said, very finicky and granular. It's kind of interesting, but also at the same time, I'm like, Lucky, I feel like you would not like this game because it's absolutely like a free-to-play, multiplayer-only game. And you would just be upset, like, starting out at Baby Tear and be like, wait, why does this guy get a machine gun? Why are there guys blowing me up with fighter planes? I don't have those yet. And even if you do have them, you'd have to, like, unlock extra bits for your fighter plane guys and go through all the trees. But if you are, you know, just want some casual multiplayer stuff, if you are more of a multiplayer FPS fan, I am, it can be enjoyable, like I said. But it's still kind of interesting to go through this. So, like, even if you unlock the ability to add an engineer or add an extra soldier to your squad through, like, upgrades and experience, as you use squads, they level up, both as a unit and as an individual soldier. So you can, there's like, all kinds of fiddly progression bits, which you can make more speed with real money, if you so choose. But it's not enough to just unlock those things. Then you got to go to logistics and you got to, like, buy more copies. So, like I said, I have unlocked the ability to actually equip everybody with sidearms and revolvers. I have not actually done that yet because in only a few more levels, I can acquire 1911s, and then I can give those out. And I'm not going to waste my free-to-play, you know, gun licenses or whatever. I think it's requisitions for weapon. I'm not going to fill out my gun forms for more guns when I know there's a gun I'm going to want more later, right?
Right. It's all about planning it out.
So, yeah, it's just like I'm not planning on spending money, or if I do, it will probably be, like, very surgical to be like, this is a neat gun, give me that one. You know, give me that cool, unique battle pass unlock, like the Welrod, which is silent. Anyway, don't know if that actually matters, by the way, being silenced or not. But, so, like Badger even talks about in the video, there's a lot of flexibility. You're gonna have to spend some money. We're gonna have to be working on that for a while to actually get all that flexibility. So I haven't fully gotten there. I am very close to unlocking the Flame Trooper. I will probably do that tonight because you get a randomly rolled daily login bonus, and mine was plus 100% double EXP for 24 hours. So I'm gonna unlock that flamethrower.
Gonna do it.
And then my enemies will know my fury. Because having up. Excuse me, sorry. I tried to breathe a little too much water. But having run into some flamethrower boys on some maps on multiplayer, boy howdy, that's good.
I think didn't
like you get a close-in map with, like, bunkers or houses. Ooh, it's bad.
Yeah, I think I saw that. I saw that Russian Battery where he just has the flamethrower everywhere. Or someone.
Yeah, and he's just flambeing guys in houses or bunkers, guys who get stuck on barbed wire. That's how that works. Because it's like it's a semi-realistic flamethrower. It's not super long range, but it has a little bit of distance, and the fire sticks. So not only does it do dot to people, but you can also do area denial. And I also think that flame troopers are might be a little more damage resilient than a normal infantryman, because I've, like, you know, clipped a couple with shots and not dropped them. Which is saying something, because that's the advantage of using, like, using the Springfield, the bolt action is, like, no, that's usually, like, one hit to the upper body or headshot, that guy's done. And even if you get a lower torso or, like, a leg shot or something, they go down. Like, you do not enjoy being hit with 30-06. So usually it's you know, a 2-pop and they're donezo, because they'll go down on the first bullet and then you pop them again. Or you run up to them and bayonet them. I have... Bayoneting is also very powerful in close quarters. I have gone on bayoneting sprees. I once bayoneted a guy through a wall, kind of, and I just said to myself, that's not how that works. But I'm ready to get the flamethrower. But like I said, the actual, like, when you're in it, the gameplay is still pretty fun. Like I said earlier, I think I recently unlocked the M1 Carbine, so that's not quite as powerful as the Springfield, because it's semi and has a bigger magazine. Game. I'm, you know, fairly certain that, you know, ballistically, well, I guess it is, 30 caliber carbine is a little bit smaller. I still don't know if, like, it's actually going to be that much of an impact difference between, like, you know, you need to take 2 or 3 shots. But anyway, it's a semi-automatic rifle. For some reason, its iron sights magically have more zoom than other iron sights, which is great, because I will admit, I don't know if it's, like, a perfect... Like, if it's just, like, maybe a sensitivity issue or just the game is quite good with its hitboxes. But I have had some trouble with some iron sights where I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm on this guy, and then just whiff. Whiff could also be, like, lag, I don't know. But the M1 Carbine's ring sights have magical extra zoom on them. So you can get a little more up close and personal. And like that is actually, like I said, when you actually get automatics, that is fairly respectable. You know, you can feel pretty good as you stumble into a clusterfuck of Germans around the corner, some of whom are AIs, and you just start going bang bang. There's a lot of like map dependence. Like one of the default teams they give you, the scout team, is 1 sniper and 2 riflemen, so it's very small and light. A lot of maps, it's fucking, that squad is fucking useless. I think I'm gonna swap those guys for the flame trooper squad when I unlock it, because yes, the sniper rifle is powerful, but it's not actually that much more powerful than your Springfield anyway. I think it just has better range, and it has a scope on top, so you can zoom in real tight. You can hold your breath on any gun for like a very slight zoom and a little bit of counteraction to your basic wobbliness.
Your weapon sway.
Yeah. Not that matters. If you ADS with like a grease gun, like there's a ballistic arc, but that recoil is very controlled, baby. Like I said, automatics feel like a dream. I'm very sad that machine gunners are a later class. You do not start with access to those, but I can see why, because you can use maps have fixed machine guns. Ooh, I have done some damage with those. It's a game which is you know, it's a multiplayer FPS, but there are a lot of what I like to call surprisingly realistic outcomes. If you're bum rushing up a street and there's a guy in a window with a bolt action rifle, you know, if there's a guy with a Springfield or a Kar 98K firing, you know, battle rifle rounds, you're probably fucked. That guy has plenty of time to zero in on you. You want to like move from cover to cover. You want to like get concealment, kind of a thing. And if, on the other hand, if I, like I said before, bust out of a door and you guys are bottlenecked with your AIs in a clusterfuck, and I have an automatic weapon, that's a lot of dead guys. Big success. So, you know, frags actually have a pretty decent like radius on them. I have been shocked when I have been blown up by enemy frags, and I was like, you know, I felt like I was, you know, quite a few feet away, but it was like, nope, still close enough. Let me see. Is there any other? I mean, I got a couple of key points. My next one I think I would talk about is, there is one thing I do not enjoy gameplay-wise so far, and that is vehicles. Yeah, so I think I know why it is this way, because I would argue that Enlisted is very interesting. You can unlock your vehicles and your vehicle squads way before you unlock proper AT. Like, I have gained, like, I have the ability to put AT guys in my squads. I have not unlocked any AT guys to actually, like, put in them. I think that's, like, level 15 or 20-ish. So, by default, your only infantryman's anti-tank maneuver is explosive packs, which are okay, but you do have to huck, you know, your bundle of dynamite. Mm-hmm. So, it's not a guaranteed effector. So, tanks, at least the default ones you unlock early, kind of clunky. Once again, despite the fact that you, for some reason, have this separate crewman in the squad who can get perks and level up and whatnot, there's, like, no AI control as far as I can tell. Like, you can't be the commander of the tank and, like, order your AI driver to drive forward, or be in the driver's seat of the tank and order the AI gunner to actually murder dudes. So you have to, like, hop around and figure out what you want to do. From the commander's seat, you can both drive and aim the turret, but you don't have the best field of view unless you turn out for the tank, but then that means you can get shot in the face, so I don't usually do that. I don't see anybody else driving around turned out of their tank either, so I assume that's just part of the meta, is you don't open the hatch because some asshole player will pick you out. And so, again, I don't know if it was designed for, like, keyboard and mouse first, but controlling tanks, very fucky. It's got, like, half a throttle mechanic. Like, you have inertia. If you start leaning forward on the stick, you will see in the little display your speed go up. And then if you let off, your speed will slowly tick down. Like, you will keep rolling forward. And if you want to get to a dead stop easily, like, you will still creep in, like first gear. You will still creep forward when you don't want to creep, and you actually got to pick back. And as far as I can tell, there is no corresponding button on my controller, which is brake. There's no full stop, which is very frustrating sometimes when you're trying to just, like, creep up a little bit forward and then stop, and you're like, no, stop. No KPH. Cease. Because there is a little bit of destructible environments, especially if you got people with mortars or bombers. Those will leave big boy craters on the ground, so you will be rocking around, and you can accidentally go up a slope or hit some debris, and be like, why the fuck am I aiming in the sky? I don't want to aim there. I want to aim at this tank that's about to murder me. Too late. I'm dead. But you might also aim at that tank because when you're moving the tank turret, it has like a delay. Like you put the sights and then your tank rotates around. Now, for machine gunning infantry, this actually works because you basically just scythe back and forth and hope the bullets work, and usually it does. But when you're trying to hit enemies with HE rounds, which are anti-infantry, I mean, don't seem that high explosive. I feel like I have to score direct hits most of the time, which is not how that should work. But then you have AP shells for enemy armor. It's a little clunkier, and like I said, I assume this is so clunky because for some ungodly reason, they don't just hand you a rocket launcher in your default kit, right? Like, you do have throwable bombs, but they don't actually do the FPS thing where you've got a rocket man right away, which is a little weird, but it is how it is. You unlock fighters fairly early. I see absolutely no point in playing fighters. There's no, like, vehicle-only modes. You have a variety of machine guns to shoot down other aircraft, but you don't have bombs. You have rockets. But as far as I can tell, I'm pretty sure rockets travel slower than your plane, and I believe I have blown myself up with my own rockets. Or at least hit myself and disabled something important, so I crashed. So, like, yeah, no, I haven't had any fun with that. I suspect I will have fun when we get to bombers, because those actually seem to have a place in the common game modes, which are either control points or strategic points. Like, what's the Battlefield one where you, like, advance through zones? There's a version of that gameplay where, like, one side is defending, another is attacking. You move, like, zone to zone to zone. Bombers, I think, have their purpose for that because I believe there's some accuracy, because I have absolutely had a guy in a bomber, like, go over my head and just dump the whole payload on my face in a nice, neat row. So there is absolutely a purpose to do that. I suspect I will have more fun we can get there. Low-level vehicles, not the most fun. I try tanks occasionally, because if you can get posted up in a good spot and a good bottleneck, a tank is pretty solid. You'll rack up the kills before somebody decides to just roll a barrel of TNT under your treads. Or, God forbid, another tank sneaks up on you.
Sneaky tank.
So, like, well, yeah, it's not really that sneaky, because it's, once again, realistic tank views, so you have very limited FOV in these things. And also, like I said, the AI in the tank are fucking useless. They mostly exist so you don't have to, like, waste time switching seats. You can just become that guy. And your individual guys can get fucking picked off, and it sucks, because if your driver's dead, then you can't drive the fucking tank. No, you can't, like, put your extra... The squad mechanics are fun sometimes. For vehicles, it all seems very clunky. I'm not enthused by the vehicle combat, but it's okay, because every map that I've played so far, every team has a vehicle cap of 2, so you only have to worry about 2 at any given time, and you've got a decent 50-50 that it's just some guy in a bomber or a fighter rolling around over your head, and occasionally he'll strafe. So, like I said, there's also a very strong aspect of progression. Both your squads and your individual soldiers level up as you get kills in gameplay, in addition to leveling up the various campaigns so you can unlock more shit to play. Soldiers have access to randomized perks that you unlock as they level up, so you can get, for instance, a perk to be like 40% jump height, plus 100% stamina, plus 100% melee damage. Some of these are bullshit, like plus 150% pose switching speed, which means you stand up from a crouch faster. But usually there's, like, they give you a selection of 3 to pick from when it gets generated. Usually there's a pretty good one that makes sense for what your various soldiers are doing. So as you level up, you do actually feel the sense of progression. Like, you get access to new weapons, your soldiers get better, you get access to whole new squads that might do more. Eventually you get access to different troopers. It's an interesting game. I'm having fun playing it. I am definitely feeling those free-to-play vibes, though. So I will continue to experiment until maybe I plateau on it. I will actually try War Thunder. But for now, I'm just, bumming around doing that or doing Cyberpunk. Hey, look, you've been playing some Cyberpunk. How's that going?
I've been having mostly fun just running around beating things with my fist and or shotguns. I have progressed very little in this story. Like I said, I finally got past part 1. I was very sad. I punched many things. I punched a robot to death. But now I'm just going around, doing the gigs and the what do they call them? The
Side
police
jobs.
Yeah.
Oh no, police scanner.
Yeah. Because you can get a lot out of those, and they're really quick to do.
Yep. Good for cash.
Yeah, no, I think I'm like level 26, and my street cred's like level 49, if I remember correctly, in this playthrough. And I'm having a blast with it's a mostly body build, and I put basically a lot of points in athletics for just regeneration.
Yeah, that's similar to my build. The regen stuff is great.
Yes, it is. But like I said, I'm not really like, I'm kind of like playing Cyberpunk 2077, basically a little, head empty, no thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've already like played through like the major story beats once, and basically the only thing that's probably gonna change is my ending and my relationship with in my relationships, because like you said, I'm going for that Pan Am booty, yo. It's gonna be delicious. But I'll probably pick whatever the Nomad ending is. Don't remember which one that is off the top of my head.
Star. Yeah, so I've recently done the main story quest with Pan Am, and I reminded, like, obviously I like Pan Am, and she has her benefits eventually, but like, boy howdy, is she just like really abrasive when you start, and it's just like, calm down, girl.
She's like,
no, I want to do a murder, and I'm like, okay, I also like murdering people and blowing things up. That is my build currently. But yeah, I like at one point I just stopped advancing story and just did all the side gigs for like Wakako, and I got she gives you a katana now.
Yeah, Byako.
Cool. I think I'm gonna start working on the Dakota, because I want to buy cars and apartments, car apartments.
Well, I mean, every
That'd
car.
be pretty funny, actually.
Oh yeah, just plenty of car. Most cars.
I mean, because they got like garbage trucks and stuff. I wonder if they could get you like the Nomads have a couple of like mobile trailer vehicles. That would be pretty funny if you could do that.
That would be. Oh, excuse me.
Sleeping benefits.
No. Yeah, freaking. Regina gives you an implant, actually. She gives you the legendary mitigation implant. I haven't had a chance to slap that in. That's the thing that always bugs me about Cyberpunk, is like, I always want this cyberware, but it's all like, you need 20 refluxes, and I'm just all like, I have 3. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, the different requirements for certain things is sometimes a little weird.
But I did get that optical camo, and I'm just all like, why have you traveled like some stealth missions with this? Because several stealth missions, me being, like I said, I think I have like 8 cool right now, and I only have like a couple points in it. For like, the most generic, sneaking things. But I'm just like, nah, doesn't matter. Just pop my camo. I'm just gonna go, up the stairs, grab the thing. I'll wait the minute for it to cool down, pop it again, and just run right back out.
Hey, it works.
It works.
And I think it makes sense. Not only is that very common in the genre, but also having like not doing that in the stuff. There's definitely quite a few like when there are gigs that are like, hey, don't alert people and you'll get extras. Or then there are also like actual jobs where they're like, take it sneaky, like doing the thing to get Pan Am's car back, where she's like, all right, you should take out quietly, and I'm like, I'm Pan Am, as I activate my gorilla fists. You do not understand how we work here. And then I run screaming out of the darkness and punch them all to death, and it was no problem. Literally invincible. Just enswolled by health regens. Punch everybody to death. Or katana them. But it, like, the ability, if I had the stealth, to actually, like, be able to briefly turn invisible so I can get some of those sneaky kills, because some of those guys have some very sharp sight lines. Makes sense, because the game will occasionally poke at you to do that stuff. We did get some continual Cyberpunk news. The developers said recently the plans are for a expansion in 2023, which I think, like, obviously that's a long ways off, but does fit the elongated dev cycle we're basically on.
Mm-hmm.
I am interested to know what that would be in terms of like actual like content. I'm assuming obviously that little updates will continue, like, you know, occasionally dropping maybe some new weapons, maybe some new cosmetics, and maybe even some slightly bigger but still free updates of, like, you know, oh, I don't know, you know, you could probably do like a new apartment update. You could add you know, maybe a couple of gigs somewhere, something like that. I think the big things that people are still clamoring for is New Game Plus. There's still no New Game Plus. You have to just start fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And then while I appreciate the apartments improvement, like, that's just really fun and atmospheric, and it's also pretty cool to, like, have your own space and stuff. And you can even customize your original apartment, you know. Is like I still need a garage, and I need to be able to, like, maybe customize some of my vehicles, because, like, there's a lot of cool cars on the streets, and I am still very disappointed that, barring, like, character specific, like, obviously, you know, Jackie's bike, Scorpion's bike, right? Like, those are specific to a guy, but the generic vehicles you buy, I know that the game has multiple versions of these body kits, and you can't, like, despite the fact that that is a reward for having a high body value, is being able to jack a lot of cars, you can't really store those cars, so there's no real reason to do it when you can just continue to buy more cars. So I would love the ability to, like, customize generic vehicles for different looks, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I would put being able to actually, like, reskin clothes or guns at a level below that one, because the game still just constantly throws fucking guns at you and clothes. I just accept that I look like a lunatic.
No, what I've done is I found, like, a look that works for me, like, and I just keep rocking it. Like, that's what I've been searching around a lot for, is I keep looking for the clothes blueprints, because that's something that I feel is actually woefully unprepared. It's like, I don't think they actually have clothing blueprints for all clothing. Like,
yeah, they're definitely scattered. Like, weapons, you can definitely go to weapons dealers and find, like, I think all the gun types somewhere, right?
I'm not even entirely sure. It took me forever to find the Kanabo blueprint. That's only at green.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if they necessarily have all the tiers of them, but I think if you do go to most of the dealers, you can actually find all of the blueprints. But I'm not sure. I haven't done a thorough testing.
And, like, that's the thing I think is weird, is, like, I don't necessarily think that the blueprint should be, like, separated by tier. I think it should be, like, you should just get a blueprint, and depending on your crafting skill, you'll get a tier.
Yeah, because you got to put perk points in that.
Yeah. And that's how it works with some other items, like the fucking armor mod, Armadillo. You only get the base one, but depending on how good you are at crafting, it will upgrade to, like, you know, epic and rare and epic. So I'm just like, all right, so we do it for one thing, but we don't do it for the rest of the things?
And that's another one of those, like, there's a lot of mutual attribute dependency in Cyberpunk. Like, obviously, there should be an incentive to go down is that technical aptitude? I think that's technical aptitude.
Yes.
Like, there should be some incentive to do that, but there already is, because that's already the mechanic of, like, hacking doors. Like, if you can't rip a door open, that's how you open, like, lockpick doors, is technical aptitude. And also that lets you answer a lot of questions. I think tech aptitude also influences, like, what kinds of network nodes you can hack. So, like, I understand that, like, they want to make the different builds, like, have different value. I don't think we need to go. Maybe it's just us lucky because of how we are, but, like, I don't think we needed to go that far to make crafting, like, its own build, right?
Right.
Especially considering it's not like there's a fucking social. At least I don't think that's under Cool that you can, like, maybe under Cool itself you can get better prices from, like, sellers, but there's not a social tree. You know, this isn't like Fallout where you can just max out barter and get all your shit on the cheap, right?
No, I think there's only one perk, I think, that lets you buy, or excuse me, sell stuff for more, and that's in the crafting tree. And I think it lets you sell crafted items, specifically crafted items, for like 20%.
Yeah, because you're probably gonna need to buy and sell a lot of shit if you're crafting, especially if you want to get that skill up. So yeah, it's like, and hey, you know, Cyberpunk, if you're thinking about, like, crazy big rebalance changes, that could definitely be a thing. I'm kind of glad there's like, it's mostly just attribute based, like, there's no, like, skill checks related to social stuff and speech.
Yeah.
but it's still like that. This may be one of the reasons why some people still wouldn't say that Cyberpunk is a role playing game, even though I do say that we do play a role. It's just that like,
well, I think
there's no like social skills. It's just like
there's social benchmarks, though. I will say
yes. You depending on your dialogue your build, you will get different dialogue options. So if you have like a shitload of body, you can sometimes take some intimidation based ones. If you're good at technical, you can talk about tech stuff. If you've got a lot of cool, you can be like,
I'll say whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, basically. Like I'm trying to think what cool dialogue corresponds to, but it's like sometimes it's flirty, but sometimes it's just like I can get away with saying this because I'm cool.
Reflex often lets you. It's like intuition. Believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, There are
also, I'm sure there's got to be at least some dialogue where somebody will ask you to do something fast, and like if you've got 10 reflex, V will be like, yeah, I can do that. And of course, obviously, there are the different dialogue trees for your backgrounds, which do actually, matter. You totally find new sides to characters by just being like, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I did the whole Hellman quest in the middle of the night last night and going through that and being like, listen, brah, I know the score. I know what's up, man. Give me the goods. And then Johnny has one of his manic episodes, and I'm just sitting there on the bench being like, Johnny, calm down. Johnny, I know you got cabin fever in my brain, but like, cool it, okay?
And he's like, no.
You're giving me motion sickness, man. Calm down. Puke. I did puke. I mean, those moments still hit so good. Like, again, if you haven't tried Cyberpunk, guys, seriously, go for it. It's a great game, especially now that it's together. It's still not perfect on last gen, but I do, there are more PS5s in the wild. So, like, I would totally say to keep your eye for it if you can play it. Because like that inner relationship with Johnny is so good, and I'm aiming this time to, if I can, get the, what is it? Don't Fear the Reaper is when you just go solo with Johnny.
Yeah, I would say definitely get a guide for that because you have to do some specific answers with Johnny to do it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've done the one that happened in that thing with Hellman, and that's the only core quest I've done with him. I also have some like old ass saves if I really need to go back. Okay, it's the secret ending required making specific choices at the end of chipping in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right, so I'll keep that in mind. I do chip in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Interesting. I wonder if they patched that, because I did do, in my first run, I did do, oh, maybe I didn't. No, I did that, okay.
What's up?
Oh, actually, okay, there's two ways. Sorry. So, there's a side quest where you go on a date with Rogue, which I did do in my first run. But apparently there are different dialogue options in Chip and In to actually get the secret ending as well.
Ah, okay.
And you also, I think you might still need a certain amount of affinity with Johnny. I'm not sure. They may also have patched it. Who the fuck? They've done a lot of patching on this game. A lot of stuff has been fine-tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Including the driving engine, which sometimes is not the best. Pro tip, gamers, don't go off-roading in something with low-ass suspension. The land outside of Night City is hilly and full of garbage bags, and your front bumper will not clear them. You will eat shit constantly. Trust me. I know. I did it.
Listen, I have to keep leveling my athletics, so I just run everywhere.
Just fucking dead-ass sprint? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good, too. I do a decent amount of that. And also a decent amount of fast traveling,
That too.
Sorry, I read a funny tweet from Defunct Land. I know he's been working on a Garfield Dark Raid video for a long time, possibly falling into the zone of madness.
Bad zone.
But he's actually got a finished script, so be interesting to see. Is Wonderland sold out? Sorry, we're just scrolling through my wish list of games to pick up. But yeah, so Cyberpunk, fun. Yeah, after I get my Flame Troopers tonight enlisted, because I've got that, 24-hour bonus. Free double EXP, didn't have to pay anything for it. Completely random. I'll probably go back to just bowing around Cyberpunk, because I have a lot of fun doing that. It's a good game. It's super cool.
Super cool.
Scratch that off as well. Clearing some stuff off my list. Though, speaking of game releases and games I want to play in future, kind of out of nowhere this week. Like I didn't as much as I was yelling about it personally, I didn't think it would go anywhere, but got an announcement for a remaster or remake of Grim Grimoire.
Yep.
Grim Grimoire once more. Coming out in July in Japan. No word for sure on the international release, but the original version on PS2 came out, internationally, so I assume they would do this because the market's only gotten bigger. That one will, much like 13 Sentinels, that will probably take a little bit because it'll be voiced. The dialogue will also be voiced, so they probably have to, get some people together, find some randos of immense talent, I'm sure. I'm joking, English voice actors. You guys are great. It's still going to be, no matter what happens, it's going to be weird because there's no freaking way they're going to reassemble the same voice cast. Unless the script is identical and they can use archival footage. There's no way the voice cast is going to be identical. So that's going to be weird because I have a decent memory of the way the game was original. But yeah, it looks neat. They've got graphics are updated. They look like they've got, some slightly improved animations and cutscenes and stuff. They've added some new skill tree stuff, so it looks like our main character, Lilette Blanc, can actually do some things in the middle. And absolutely, if that's got an English release coming, that will be a stream game. I am not sure who will play it. I know you're looking at getting Grim Grimoire on PS2 as well.
Yeah, no, it should be arriving today.
Oh, neat. But that'll be fun to check out, and it'll be a funny stream game because every character, well, not every character, Mr. Advocat isn't, but almost every character is named after an alcohol.
That's great.
Well, also several of them being Harry Potter puns, such as Headmaster Gameldor.
I wonder if that was a
as
localization thing.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's... I think some of them were, edited slightly, but there is a Grim Grimoire wiki. Yeah, so, it looks like they just kind of edited some of the grammar. It's Lilette Blanc in which is a reference to Lilette Blanc, or Lillet Blanc because it's French. It was Lillet Blanc in Japanese with a W, so they did an aside to fix it, but in general most of the jokes are preserved. Such as one of your schoolmates is just named Margarita. In Japanese, her name is Margarita Frozen, which is stupid. And in English, it's Margarita Surprise. Which is still silly, but flows better. Because you would read that the other way around, and you would introduce her in Japanese as Frozen Margarita, which is just that's not even a pun.
I mean, that's not the first time. Do you remember the fucking all the characters in fucking Gate were also the same way? They were all named after alcohol. I don't know. I guess that's just a thing people can do.
Yeah. Well, you can do some cross-media stuff. I don't know. There are certain cocktails and certain brands which are locked in. I do not believe that anybody has a copyright on the name margarita. There's a certain amount of open domain with cocktail recipes.
Also, like, I'm not like, as I said, I'm not gonna cast stones about people making weird choices about their naming things. You know, as I do the heaviest fucking side eye at JoJo. You know, just.
Oh yeah, I mean JoJo is references to music Araki likes, I assume, and then it only gets sillier from there because for some reason that one is we gotta watch out copyright. Once again, I don't understand why we do it for everything, but still, it's yeah.
Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Shit.
Oh hey, that reminds me. I think in a couple of days, Dogs Must Die is finally going to start reviewing Part 5. I cannot wait. I've been having rewatched all of Part 5 recently. I'm very interested to see what they think about it because it starts off like one way and then it just keeps going. It's very JoJo.
Very JoJo.
They spent a lot of weeks off working on Rohan spinoffs, and they might be taking a week off this week after the Rohan stuff. We'll see. See what happens. Do just another clip show. Anyway, yeah, I'm super excited for Grim Grimoire. We can pencil that into our list. I will be playing that 100% at some point if it comes out in English. Then who knows? I might import it, man, if it's just in Japanese. You never know. I played the whole frickin' game before, so I'm pretty sure I can figure out through muscle memory. Hell, I've got that was a PS2 game. That comes with a manual, you know. Still got it on my shelf. I can pull it off, roll it back, figure it out. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by that one.
Mm-hmm.
Sweat, bro. Let's see. How's your kitchen?
Horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it's hard for me to build the kind of kitchen that I the commercial style kitchen that I want because they don't necessarily give me the items for that, so I have to come up with something. I'm just all
Well, your bar top looks good, though I do notice you do clip through it.
Yeah, I say you got to clip through it a little. You got to clip through a little bit on everything here because, like I said, the housing system, while better than many, is still not absolutely perfect.
Yep.
Let's see here. Let's see if I can find something nice. But
I mean, your shelves of cheese and stuff seem to have worked out.
yes, I have acquired a cupboard of cheese and a cupboard of bread. Now I just need a cupboard of meat. And then it's sandwiches for days.
Hey, that's good adventuring food, you know?
Hell yeah, it is.
Self-disposing. Put in a pail.
Let's see.
All right, well, we've been going for almost an hour and a half. I've been drinking a lot of water, so I think this is a good opportunity to take an intermission. Everybody, get up and walk around. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
So feel free to get up and stretch. And I will pause audio and be right back. Lucky will continue to grumble to himself about the placement of objects.
We can get a wondrous parfait? I love it. A quack quack. It's a quack quack clock! Oh, I love it! I gotta link this. Instead of a cuckoo clock, it's a quack quack clock. Ah! I need one. Does it actually go off? Oh, that'd be the best. Ooh! 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 I think I need these. Yes. This is good. I can't buy it, and it looks like it has to be... It's probably a level 90 alchemist thing. But I love incorporating greenery with, this. Arash, you watching? Look at this ivy stuff. It's neat. I wonder how it looks from the other side, though. I do like getting arboreal when I can. Let's see here. We got the alpine doormat, the luminous stuff, the ironworks tool set, small blackboard. Oh, it has the fucking old chocobo on it too. God damn it. Let's see here. Imitation alpine window. That was too. Oh, actually, that might be. No, I already built up one of those. The Astrologicum star map. Oh, we put it on the table. All right, screw that. Indoor. Oh. Oh, neat. Of course, Fortimus, that, Alpine cabinets, classic table. What else we got going on here? We got an indoor fountain to be bougie as fuck. Oh, this is a very nice bookcase. Factory pillar. A trick bookcase. This is something I do actually need to make because everyone has been going on about it. Basically, we have a bookcase. You can have a bookcase that opens up into a secret room. It's kind of amazing, I will admit. But what was I actually going to look for? I actually completely forgot. God damn it. Let me see here. The hanging thing. This is actually pretty big. Got that big old steamer basket too. Makes me hungry.
Okay, I'm back. Stretching complete. How you doing, chat? I see you guys wandering. Are you doing okay? Hopefully Lucky's work is not making you feel too hungry or anything. So I talked about a couple of things for a little bit, and I know there was one other thing that you said you would talk about today, so...
Yeah.
If you think you got that in there.
I do got that in there. So, as always, I have been listening to audiobooks at work. I actually got through, started another series. What was it called again? Oh, the Eldest Throne series. Book 1 was Awakening Arts, and the second one was Edict of Honor. I usually don't say this about, like, a lot of books that I've actually read and interesting, but I don't think it's that good a book series. So basically, the premise of this is basically, Omega, how familiar are you with cultivation and wuxia novels?
None. I've heard the words before, but I don't know what that means.
So, wuxia, you probably understand. That's, Chinese martial arts and all that crazy stuff, everyone wearing fucking robes, beard,
Yeah, I should say that. I understand wuxia films.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cultivation novels are basically the wizards of the wizarding of Chinese novels. Basically, it's people basically using techniques, alchemy, potions, magical items and stuff to basically temper their own souls and bodies to ascend to higher states of being. So, you get things like, you talk about, like the meridian points and, all that kind of stuff. It's its own little genre, and I enjoy them because usually they actually, a lot of times they'll introduce like RPG lit or game lit terms into it in some form or fashion. It's very easy to mix and match the two. And so, like I said, what I've been trying to do recently is I've been trying to get out of my pool of mostly listening to Eastern, I guess I'll say, Eastern style novels, and try to reground myself in Western style novels, but try to find ones that have the same kind of tropes and what I'm looking for. And so I came across the Eldest Throne series, and it said, borrows heavily from wuxia cultivation tropes and with a more Western feel. And it didn't seem like the 13-year-old wish fulfillment novels that I see a lot on Audible. You guys know what I'm talking about.
I mean, honestly, you say you see it a lot on Audible, but like that is also just I talked about this like when I talked about Owl House last week. Like I feel like that cartoon series allegedly for children, and I will talk a little bit more about Caught Up, or at least Caught Up Plus. But it definitely feels like it's taken the piss out of those kinds of novels, right?
Right.
Like that's just a genre that has lasted so long that people now who were kids and are adults can now make media poking fun at the fact that that's definitely a thing.
I mean, that's always been a thing. Like, again, like I remember growing up and seeing my mom with the shelves of fucking, fantasy romance novels where every single dude, is completely ripped, has long flowing hair, and the woman's just like, against them. So, no, these things have been around for a while, but, like, it's just this weird transition I see when I'm looking through books, and it's just all like, like, oh god, what was I can't remember the name. It was like Monster Girl Maker, and I'm just all like, on one hand, this usually would appeal to what I'm all about, but at the same time, I feel like this is probably not as great as I would think. I actually made a tweet about this at one point, and you just like immediately just retweeted it. Was what did I say? Oh yes, it was what is my favorite genre? What is my favorite genre? Competent writing and character development. And
yep.
So I was just like, yeah. And Eldest Ring didn't seem to have didn't give me those immediate vibes of this might suck a little bit. And so I read it, and I read both books. I will say I don't necessarily like them, but I don't dislike them enough to get a refund, if that makes any sense. Like I read both books. I listened to both books. And I'm just all like, all right, there's a lot of things to improve here, but it feels like Eldest Throne feels like a series that is genuinely trying to be something, I guess I want to say.
Yeah, it's not like whatever is going on with like Monster Girl blah 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 novels and whatever, where like somebody is like looking at the dark arts of search engine optimization and is like, Monster Girls are popular, I can write something vaguely horny, and then just people will just scoop it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like there's a wealth of free things for people who are horny on the internet.
I think that's one of the weird things too. I always talk to people. It's like, yes, I am constantly horny on main, but I don't go. I have the internet. If I want to go find something lewd, it is very easy. I do not necessarily need that in my literature. I like it in my literature, but I would first rather have a good story and then have something horny in there later.
Yeah, and there's nothing. It's just like with TV and movies. There's nothing more awkward when you're like pursuing a completely like normal, unrelated plot line, and then suddenly everything is all hot and heavy, and you're just sitting there reading and just like, wow, this something got really intense and intimate all of a sudden. I was not reading The Room, I guess. I'm just sitting here reading a paperback in my jammies.
Just like, oh, okay.
Should I light some scented candles and get some rose petals for this reading? And of course, that can get double awkward when you're talking about audiobooks because the poor reader has to read it.
Yeah, and that's the other reason why I'm leery about getting like some of those more erotic like novels, because I'm just all like, I don't want to hear someone telling me this. Like I like being like when I'm reading that kind of thing, when I'm reading the smut or the erotica. Like I don't need someone telling to me. Like that means that person's in the room with me. I'm just like, no. Like I don't know you. We have not gone to dinner yet.
Yeah, it's that moment of intimacy, which like sometimes is okay, but other times you're just like, whoa, hold on, we were just doing wizard stuff a moment ago. What's happening?
What's happening now?
Like hell, you and I both love Dresden Files. The couple of times that Jim Butcher has gone in that direction, possibly on a dare. I feel like Jim Butcher does everything on a dare. It's definitely like, woo, okay. All right, Harry, come on. Calm down. You're fine. Cool it. You get a little too up in your guts here, buddy. So, you can't see, but I did the collar tugging gesture in real. Because it's like, it's not bad. It's just like, it's a little awkward. It's like if you're on your phone and you open our Hella Not Safe for Work channel.
I've done that a couple times.
Just like, Whoops. That may, and I don't know. Look, tell me what you think about the analogy. That may be correct, Axe, where, like, it is kind of like what we would call trashy in terms of literature, or, like, pulpy. Like, it's not supposed to be advanced, you know? There's a reason why there's all that, all this vibe about, you know, pulp novels or penny dreadfuls, right? Like, it's not meant to be highbrow literature. You're getting these things on the cheap, on the DL. Airport literature being another common one. You know, the only reason why you're reading this is because you literally forgot something in the airport and you're gonna die. But it's not like awful, right?
Yeah, no. Like, I was able to get both through them, and like I don't like there's definitely points where I'm listening to them. I'm like, author, why'd you do that? Why did you do that? Why are you doing this with these characters? But it's never so bad that I'm just like, all right, I'm fucking done. Like the Elder Throne is weird. It's super fucking weird because it's a multicultural, like, it's like the characters come from literally all over the fucking place, and there's no rhyme or reason to anything. They're all just smashed together. Like, we'll have like one character, like the thing that really hammered us home is when a bunch of people were wielding their weapons. We have a character with 2 kukris. We have a character with a Kusuragama. We have a character with a fucking with, you know, a longbow. We have a character with like a targe and, you know, axe. And I'm just like, wait, so why are all these like different styles of weapons from different parts of the world just in this, you know, magical fantasy place with like none of their nature? Oh yes, we also have a character with a Guandao.
Because Lucky, D&D exists and I've read it.
So I'm just like, so
by the way, if you ever need sorry to derail you, but that just made me think of a very quick tangent I went and got there. If you ever needed more evidence for why you should not just herder everything is D&D, look no farther than the Dark Souls RPG which came out, which is 5e based and is bad. Very bad. Like, the rules are just straight up, like, incorrect. You can, if you pick the knight background and the knight armor you get, you literally can't wear it. The game does not give you enough strength to wear the fucking armor. Like, it's just, it's full of just, like, obvious fucking errors like that, guys. Try to be a little more creative. Not everything is D&D. All right, Lucky, continue. Sorry, it's just, you guys know about my pet peeves about D&D.
Banquet tables, country dining set. Oh, that's lovely. So, like, Elder's Throne has, like, it has its flaw and its mismatch, but it feels like a genuine, honest attempt to write something decent and good. And I will never fault someone for trying their best at something, even if it falls flat. So, you know, I'm gonna keep reading, because the first book was, you know, I was just like, I was like, this upsets me slightly. But then I read the second one, I'm like, this upsets me still, but less than the first book. So there is improvement. So I'm just like, so I'm hoping for the third book. What is this? I gotta see what this is. Spirit Cult.
Oh, it's the TV Tropes article on the genre, which I'm like, hey, if you need more background, like Omega did.
Actually, that reminds me. Someone actually talked about a game they were playing. I skipped it the other day because they got really long with it, but they talked about a game called Amazing Cultivation Simulator. I'm like, I'm slightly interested in this. But yeah, so like I said, so it didn't necessarily scratch the itch I was looking for, and like I said, they were basically airplane novels. Like I think I finished each one in a day.
Oh yeah, that's a very.
I think like each one was like 8 to 10 hours, just, you know, listening to someone tell it to me. That means I probably could have read it in like half the time.
Oh yeah, God, yeah. Double is probably a good one. Like I have consumed, you know, decently chunky novels that I liked, you know, not that I think a lot of the Star Wars EU was like high literature or anything, but like you can chew through those paperbacks. Like I could do that easily in an afternoon. The kind of you're describing an 8 to 10 hour audiobook. Ooh. Yeah, it's also probably like one afternoon. It's gone.
Yeah, I need to get this.
As opposed to like
I need to get these bottles of spirits.
Like some of the full size L5R novels take me a couple of days. The novellas are like literally like 2 hours. Because they're novellas. They're small.
Small.
That's always so. This is the thing we've talked about before. Not necessarily in terms of like audiobooks. You've discussed it, I think, with light novels before, and definitely with anime, especially talking about like isekai oversaturation. But there is definitely something to be. That was a very interesting furniture piece you just had with the like mural on top.
Yep.
Like what?
I know this is like literally the most boring stuff, guys. I know, but this is how I do housing. I run around thinking about shit and I look at items.
I mean, I can't really imagine how else you would do it. This isn't like how you do that in real life, where you just like, hold on, I need to go to a catalog, or like I have a bookshelf that we added for books, and that was basically like, hey, I have space between my desk and like an end table for like a bookshelf where I could store all my books and get them out of boxes. Can we arrange that? Lo and behold, the bookshelf appears. This is easier because you don't got to assemble anything. I don't have to use the cheap ass hex bolt they gave us. Is that a fucking children's play place in the middle of that list of things?
Yes.
Oh my god. Award-winning Final Fantasy XIV. Anyway, the point I was getting at was we have talked about this issue before of like media, whatever form it is. I almost said games, even though that wasn't one of the media we talked about. But with medias we've talked about, there is definitely this like gray area. Not everything is going to be high art with like an extra T and an E or something. Raise your pinky. Like not every piece of creative work needs to be like deeply impactful and meaningful, but also that doesn't necessarily mean that a lot of that stuff in the middle is bad. It's just kind of like average. I do agree with you, like in terms of sentiment of like, I would personally prefer to know an author who is like honestly trying and not quite hitting the mark, rather than just a machine of editors and authors, you know, mass produced this piece of crap to hit all the same buttons, because that would mean that story is very boring, probably, if it's like incredibly samey, right? But if like the author is actually trying and there's genuine effort, you know, you got to respect authenticity. Game respects game.
Yeah.
But this is a thing that the internet has not always been great at. I feel like, I don't know for sure, I do feel like the pandemic has kind of like softballed people on mass media a little bit. Like when you had so much fucking free time and you were forced to kill it doing hobbies, I feel like people like got a little looser about like what they just binge watch on TV or what books they read. Like I feel like I see, and maybe it's also just because I just, you know, I have managed to close off all my things going on, and I don't see them anymore. But I feel like I see a lot less like weird hot takes about media being garbo or whatever. Like, there's still certainly an aspect of criticality, and sometimes you still see stupid things. I have no idea why this trended. I don't know what it means, but apparently there was some internet man who makes videos about this kind of postmodern critique thing, who was like asking about why the new Red Panda movie from Pixar doesn't talk about 9/11, even though it's set in like 2002. And I'm like, who cares? Is that essential to the experience? No. I mean, I feel like everything actually made in the year 2002 was about 9/11, but that's a different matter. It's like I've also been watching back a few, because I've realized I never went through literally every video in that playlist. I've been watching Todd in the Shadow's old One Hit Wonderlands again, and you know, thinking about music, which is a thing we always galaxy brain about that like hard pivot from like early 90s super cheery, smooth, you know, production pop, and even there was a long tail on like the boy band era and stuff, but then like the punk bleeding into the emo scene and the nu metal scene, right? Like all that stuff is just like a hard swerve in the early 2000s, and I'm just like, yeah, that's that millennial angst and War on Terror. Yep. Suddenly America is no longer bulletproof and everything is really weird, guys.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna pick up a couple of these, and I can use that to just basically find that I'm storing more food. Okay. I know where to get those.
You guys are just watching Lucky do the equivalent of flick through the interior decorating catalog.
Yes.
Decorating?
Decorating. We decorating now.
Man, I'm hitting the bottled water too hard. Ugh. But yeah.
This is what I need right here. There we go. That's what I need. Look at that. That's beautiful. Big
yeah, there you go. You got a big display. Almost looks like a storefront type thing.
It totally is. But I'm gonna stick it in here, and people can come.
I mean, your fucking apartments in Cyberpunk have vending machines in them. You don't own a fridge. You have to pay for your fucking food out of a machine.
Yeah, let's get let's get this: a restaurant showcase and a baked goods showcase.
Very showcase. But definitely, like, another thing, I think there's the old Periphery demographic. We just talked about how, the 13-year-old trashy wish fulfillment, that there are sometimes... Oop, uh-oh.
What happened?
I wonder if it's just on my end. I'm seeing... No, there it goes, okay. I think I just lied for a second. It was showing me no data, and it started looping on the recording. Chat, let me know if there was, like, a buffer there or something. Or if it was just my end. Or somebody's. It's fine now. But as I was saying, like, there were definitely eras in the past, I think, especially before we've talked about it at length, like the nerd pop culture revolution in like the 2000s.
Yeah.
When anime became cool. There was definitely something against like keeping up with your childhood pastimes.
Mm-hmm.
And like the things you liked. But the weird thing is that you probably learned to like those media during a formative time period. And so they kind of stick with you, right? Like you know the ins and outs of that writing and you remember it. And definitely I think we've gotten a little bit better about like both understanding like nostalgia and the formativeness and how you can like do new takes on things that like appealed to you. And you can obviously get more mature with it. You can put new spins. You can engage new themes that when you were younger, the genre couldn't engage in. Kids are also, this is something we say a lot as well, kids are also, not as fragile as you think they are.
Mm-hmm.
Having once been a kid and, read and seen things that, according to people, I was not supposed to. And hey, I'm here. I'm making an internet podcast. I'm fine. I'm completely functional. People pay me money to do. That's what matters in our society, right?
Oh yeah, they're not that expensive.
Ooh. Stretching my bones. I could use that kind of, like I said, to pivot to talking about cartoonals.
Talk about them cartoonals.
I am now, at least for what's on Disney Plus, I am caught up with Owl House. I did not realize when I read about the season 3 like being the last one announcement that like they hadn't even finished airing season 2 because it was split production. I think they made a batch of like 10 episodes and then they made another batch of like 10 episodes separately, which is like currently airing now on the Disney Channel, which I don't get because who the fuck gets cable? So I'll be interested to catch up with that. But overall, like so far, even with an incomplete, it's a very strong experience. Like first of all, I've talked about this before, but the animators will absolutely like bust out their highest chops. There's a fight in like the 2-parter season finale for the first season, and even in one of the more recent episodes in the second season, where like everything is like super fluid, high energy. There's an explicit DBZ joke in there, so I assume some of the writers and animators have seen it. At one point, there's a VHS tape for something called Dragon Claw Z that comes up, and one of our main characters, Ida the Owl Lady, is like, "Hey, I saw that in theaters," reminding you that Dragon Ball is old. And once again, that's a joke that's not necessarily going to resonate with children. Though it does kind of appear in a kind of a sad twist that is why the show is ultimately being cut short. It was clarified by a executive when they said that they didn't think that Owl House was on brand. They meant specifically on brand for the Disney Channel, which as a cable channel is for episodic content for kids ages 6 to 11, which I think I mentioned. They make that as an explicit joke in one of the episodes in the first season. They talk about inventing a TV network for kids 6 to 11. As you know, an adult man who has watched through at least the backlog you've got, I would agree. This show is serialized. It like has continuity from episode to episode. You can't necessarily watch one standalone. And I would argue it is probably not for ages 6 to 11. Most of the kid characters are like, first year of high school age. They're like 15 or 16. A couple of them are a little younger because age weirdness. But like, they're in their middle teens, the primo young adult years. And then there are plenty of adult characters who are like part of our reasonable character arc. And while not like explicit in any way, there's not like a lot of blood or anything. There's definitely plenty of like mortal peril and deep philosophical questions that, you know, I don't know if a 6-year-old is going to be ready to wrap their brain around some of these concepts. We did just say kids are a little springier than you think, but I'm also like, I don't know if a 6-year-old is ready to grapple with the existential terror of being, you know, having to pick between staying at home in the mundane world and staying in the fantastic world, but possibly never seeing your mother again. It's like, you know, there's some deep philosophical cuts here.
Well, I can't. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure there are some kids to relate, but that's
Yeah, there's certainly some personal conditions apply, but you know, it's a show that's being written by adults that's set in this time frame, and obviously, like I said, there's a lot that resonates for an older audience. I said before, I think it's a good example of a family cartoon. I do believe that a decent chunk of your younger audience will keep up with some of these things and can enjoy it, and so can adults, you know, because it's got some jokes, it's got some things, you know, tropes that you'll get. Like I said, there's a lot of taking the piss out of, you know, cheapo, you know, YA novels, the kind of shit you would read in your first year of high school. And, you know, some deliberate subversions, as the magical fantasy world you find in a weird door sucks, trying to kill you. But you can do cool things here, but also, you know, it rains boiling water. It's bad. But yeah, so I'll be interested in keeping up with that. It's just kind of interesting to see how these things, you know, shake a breakout.
Mm-hmm.
It got me invested in like all the plot lines and characters, so I think it's very well written and it's got good world building. I'm a little saddened by I mean, I understand why. As you guys know, I am Mr. World Builds Loudly. There is a whole thing with like how our human main character Luz can actually learn magic, and she has to do it through a specific way by like discovering glyphs. Yeah, I think there's a question of like understanding versus like wrapping conceptually your head around. Sorry, chat question. Like there are definitely some themes, like if you're you know, a kid who doesn't get some of the jokes about like, you know, crushing or relationships or whatever, and you don't understand that drama, that's okay. You don't have to. You can just see the conflict on the characters' faces. But then there's like some of the other like you know, you may need some life experience, or you may, actually no, honestly probably you just need life experience to like start wrapping your head around some of these other questions for characters who are written to be older anyway. But as I was saying about world building, Luz has to kind of like pick up these different like glyphs to do magic kind of the hard way, through like careful study, and they do eventually develop more complex systems of like stringing glyphs together. But at the same time, I am a little disappointed. They seem to have hard capped it at like, is it a spoiler to say exactly how many? Yeah, some people might know the curve. There's a finite number of glyphs, and then all other spells are just stacking the different glyphs together. And that kind of disappointed me. Of like, that's a little basic, and it's not even like, I don't even think it works out to be like a 4-element system. Because it's like you've got like the first glyph she learns is in like episode like 2 or 3 is like light, and then there's like ice later, but also fire. And that's just one of those things where I'm like, I would not be able to contain myself. I would continue to world build. But as a writer, I understand, because I've also done like stats and probability, and when you do too many permutations, then you're like, why did I write so many permutations? I want to die. So adding variables, painful sometimes.
Can't see it, but I was nodding sagely.
Yeah. But it's still a good show, and like I said, I think it has a broad audience appeal. I believe most of the target demographic is like young adults anyway. I don't know if I count as a young adult. I'm nearly 30, but I can still enjoy the media. You know, I don't know what people in my demographic are supposed to be watching, but as we said earlier, I haven't felt any need to quote unquote grow out of the things I used to like. The things I like, you know, the tropes and settings I like are still good when they're good. So, what is that? I think that's it's either Lewis or Tolkien. I think it's a Lewis quote about when I grew up, I put away childish things, including the need to not appear childish or something. I'm paraphrasing. But yeah, it's roughly along those lines of like, it's actually like when you're actually really mature, you don't give a shit about whether or not you look childish because you realize that like it don't matter in life and you should just enjoy what you enjoy because life sucks, then you die.
Maybe I should.
But since I caught up, I have not gone full ham. Because I have, like I said, been playing a lot of Enlisted and Cyberpunk. I did actually watch the pilot episode for Gravity Falls, because that's some of the same writers and producers as Owl House.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it seems all right. I've watched like the first one, and I'm like, okay, this is a decent suck in grip.
Grappling hook.
And it's very funny because I am writing Delta Green, obviously, and I will talk a little bit more at Starcourt. I am ready to bamboozle and shock my players if they're in the audience.
Please not.
I'm giving the spooks. I'm gonna spook them. I'm gonna pre-spook them. So like this, weird conspiracy. The kid Dipper literally finds a book in the woods that says "Trust no one," and I'm like, damn, this is very relevant. So I'll probably be catching up with that. Though at least one evening last night, I realized that you can't always find certain things on the Netflix, as it were. Stuff moves around. There's some TV shows that aren't there anymore. But I think Netflix has been making a move to get older movie films on there. I have distinctly noticed that Top Gun is on Netflix now. They're advertising. But you know what else is up there? The Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies.
Really?
Yeah. Both Sherlock Holmes and Game of Shadows. And they're still pretty good. I watched the first one, and, it's delightful. So they're on Netflix if you want to check those out. It's a good time. But all right, we can probably, as we approach hour 2, though, actually, I would like to point out with books, because we got a little off from there. Well, yeah, they do have a sequel to Top Gun coming out. I'm sure that'll be on some premium streaming service. That's been delayed like a shitload. I'll probably still watch it, because I'm sure Tom Cruise actually flies a fighter jet, which is, ludicrous, but hey, he's Tom Cruise. It's why you watch Tom Cruise movies, because he's going to do something crazy. But I did just remember there was another thing which I think you may have said you were going to talk about. So, the bear thing. The bear book.
Yeah, no, I was getting to that, but we tangented.
Yeah, we got kind of... Well, it's because you had some complex thoughts about that first one.
Yeah.
We could double down on.
So, after the Elder Scrolls series, I started looking around for more books. Again, I was looking for specifically game lit and RPG lit books, because that's my jam. I enjoy that. I enjoy being just giving hard facts on someone's power level. That's ultimately what it is. I don't want to have like 2 pages of fucking prose to let me know this guy has gotten more swole. Just give me a fucking number. I understand the fucking number. This is great. Some people might find it lazy. I call it efficient.
I think it more depends on whether or not you're getting into the context of, like, a lot of people will rant and rave about power levels in DBZ, but that's because power levels in DBZ were just a writing trope. They don't mean anything. But when you're doing a pastiche of actual game mechanics, then, like, they have meaning, right? Like, that's part of the math that's involved. Shortcut and do interesting things, and I just talked about world building. I always think that stories are more interesting when the audience knows the rules and the author respects the rules, as opposed to just doing whatever the fuck they feel like.
Mm-hmm. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh god, I'm gonna need a lot of them. Oh, I shouldn't have sold them, but who's dumb? I'm dumb.
Did you accidentally sell some furniture?
Yeah, well, I thought I wasn't gonna need it because because like I said, we only have a 400 item limit in here, and we got a lot of space, and I want to get things looking nice. So I have to consider how many items I'm using in a room. Because here's the thing we're talking about, like with Final Fantasy XIV housing, the walls are bullshit. Like, the walls come pre-built with like these pillars and windows in them that completely break up like area, and you can't like necessarily put things on them. So what the most common trick to do is to buy partitions and lay them over the wall. You lose a bit of square footage, but then you can just put anything on the fucking wall, including other windows and pillars if you wanted to. But again, like every partition I put down counts against the item limit. I'm just all like, do I want to, buy the partition so I can get a smooth wall look? because actually that's kind of what happens in the library over here. Is what Aresh did is you see, like, all these are partitions right here. They actually had to put these down to make this wall, whoops, to separate everything off. And then
Skyward Sword style.
Yeah, and see, like, you can see it here. Like, if you pay attention, you can see, like, it doesn't actually go up against the wall. If you actually try to put it up against the wall, it starts, like, bumping and grinding and not, like, and like, there's some, like, collision issues there. So if you want to, like, actually make something sweet, you actually have to, get a big long row, and that's, like, why we have, like, this giant library room going on right now. So I'm now considering if I want to sacrifice more of our item capacity to, put more partitions in. I'm just like, I don't know if I want to. This is why I'm constantly running back and forth and looking at things, because I'm trying to get the most, like, benefit out of the items I pull out. So I'm just like, Anyway, so I like game lit and RPG lit books.
Yep.
Or lit RPG, whatever you want to say it. And so I started looking for another one. Again, I have the problem of a lot of these books are written with, as I shall say, questionable intent. Like I said, I'm not saying, like, if I see a book and it's just one dude surrounded by, like, 5 monster girls, I'm just like,
Gee, I wonder what this one's about.
Yeah. And I don't know how I came across it. I really, really don't. But I found a book. It is called Stuff and Nonsense. It has a picture of a couple people and a teddy bear. It is indeed a game, or I should say, it's game/RPG lit. Like, I feel like there's something going on under the hood here that might be a little bit weirder than it is, and I'm not entirely sure. But the thing that sold me on this story is that the main character is a motherfucking teddy bear. His name is Threadbare, and he is a toy golem. And he really, really just wants to save his girl. I'm like, this sounds interesting. The premise has already immediately just got me like, yes. This has me going, what? But what in the good way? And so I looked at it. I popped the sample, and it's basically someone doing a Winnie the Pooh narration. And I'm just like, oh no, this is gonna be amazing. I actually double checked it. The audiobook actually won an award for best narration.
Of course.
Yeah, and I'm just like, no, this is great. No, I'm gonna listen to this, and I'm on book 2. And if I wasn't talking to you all guys right now or talking to other people, I'd be listening to it right now, cause it's very, very good. Like, it's not the bestest, cause again, game RPG, like game lit and lit RPGs, has a very unfortunate fallible when it comes to audiobooks, in that there are situations in which you will just get a page of stats, and unfortunately in an audiobook you have to read those out. So
that does not necessarily translate.
That does not necessarily translate with it. So, like, the prologue is actually, no, what was it, the prologue? No, that was the prologue in the second book. The epilogue of the first book is, once upon a time there was a bear, and something, and he says status, and then the narrator just literally lists out like 8 stats, 4 pools, 4 derivative pools, classes, skill levels, all that stuff. And it takes, I looked at the chapter, it was like 10 minutes of just reading stats and skills. I'm just like, that's a fucking lot. Like, I will say,
this does not translate well.
This does not translate well. And in the story, it's not that bad, because usually it's just like a level up, a plus skill point or something. But there's just moments where the story just stops so the narrator can read all this. And I'm like, if you're not necessarily into that kind of genre, like, it might bug you. It might bug you. But other than that, I love it. It's because the teddy bear does not start off as a super smart character. He literally starts with no intelligence, gets uplifted, and starts with an intelligence of 2. He can't read, he can't write, he can't speak. He understands nothing.
Ooh, very, very classic, like, D&D stuff.
And, you know, the story is him, anytime he has, like, a strong thought, he gets +1 intelligence, and then he thinks a little bit better, and it's just him going and going and going. Like, we're in book 2, and he just learned what lying is. And he's like, I think that's very bad. Like, because he's just a killer teddy bear. But, you know, he doesn't necessarily want to hurt people. He just wants to give people hugs, have everyone feel good, and he wants to find his little girl. And he's in a very, very dark world. Like, things are,
as you do.
Like, things are really fucked up. And it's like, he's just this big, shiny hope beam, you know, who's a 12-inch tall teddy bear. And I'm just like, this is amazing. And again, it's all narrated in the audiobook by someone who's doing Once Upon a Time There Was a Bear. If you could say,
Oh, bother.
Oh, bother. And I'm just like, oh god, it's so atmospheric, and the guy's very good with voices. And I'm loving the experience.
It's always good when you find a nice experience.
Yeah. So if you want a story, like, if you want a good fantasy story that, because here's the thing, it's a, what's the word I want to say? It's not making fun of things, but it's making a witty and funny parody of, it's a parody. There we go. That's, I mean, it has a lot of parody of fantasy tropes, because, like, one of the things you learn is that the world has rules. Like, this is why people have classes and level ups and stuff. But 40 years ago, they rolled on a different system, and they had such stats as THAC0. But things suddenly changed one day.
Rule edition joke.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's an AD&D joke from back in 2nd D, and, like, you know, that was, you know, 40 years ago. You know. And, you know, it has other jokes like that, you know. And again, like, they have nods to other things like Japanese and anime subculture. Like, there's a dungeon that they go to that's literally filled with cat puns. Like, you have the catacombs, you have catapults, you have, you know, they had, like, various undead monsters. But the final boss in the dungeon was the Necromancer. Because guess what? The dungeon was filled with undead cats. And, like I said, I don't necessarily like the voice that the narrator did with this, but again, it's a dude, and you can't, like, I'm sorry. There are some dudes who can do female voices right, and a lot of the ones he do are okay, but you can't, there's no, like, this one just kind of misses, but, you know, this is a fucking, you know, it's a literal cat girl running around saying kawaii and going yeah and stuff. I'm just like, it's like, I feel seen. You know, it's making fun of it, but at the same time, I'm just like, no, this is completely acceptable. I get it. This makes me laugh. Ha 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 ha. And there's, like, a lot of things. I can't remember a lot of the other. I can't remember, like, there's, like, other jokes. Like, there's a god. He has a full name, but his short name is Nerf, and he is the god of fairness. And people be all like, "You got fucking nerfed," and people are like, "God damn it." You know, it's just like, it's a lot of these little fantasy jokes and tropes and puns that just, it tickles my fancy. It's like,
yeah, you have a great comment about this in the books channel of our Discord, talking about the puns being Piers Anthony tier.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Guys, if you don't know, Piers Anthony wrote a series, the Chronicle. I can't remember if it was the Chronicles of Xanth, but it was the Xanth series, where the world literally ran on puns. I can't remember anything off the top of my head because it's literally been like 15
yeah, I mean, it's but it also, you probably don't remember because it's fucking, like, dense.
Yeah. but you could just you do
But
not.
I mean, it would be like, I think it would be something like you would have a flower, which in the real life we have flowers which are called like painter's brushes or something. Only in Xanth, it's a literal painter's brush. You can just pick it up off the ground and it's a brush.
Yes.
Like shit like that. Like it's just all wordplay.
Yeah, but it's like it's modern game and media puns, which, you know, is a different thing. Like you can I'm pretty sure I could go pick up, you know, a spell for Chameleon, which is the first book, by the way. I love that book. And you know, you can get the puns, but you definitely feel like, no, this is like a book from like, you know, 20, 30 years ago, you know, with like its kind of puns and references. Like I picked this book up and was like, no, these are all references from like right now. And and like I appreciate that, because that is something. This is the kind of like this is a fantasy story that reflects today, and that's something that, like, I really like. I'm sorry, I'm talking. I know I'm just running in circles here, guys, but because I'm talking, I can't talk and work at the same time. I really can't. I can just run. I can only run, but. It's a fantasy series that uses basically modern tropes, modern cliches, and uses it to the best effect that you can. Like, again, like I've been seeing a lot of these stories come up on Royal Road, and I'm guessing that's the fucking Western version of, oh god, what's the name of the Japanese site? Basically, there's like the Japanese site where a lot of people post their web novels, and sometimes they get picked up and published and whatnot. And so it's just like, oh geez, wow, I love this. Like fucking, there's a fucking there's a character you meet who's a shaman. One of her skills, 11 secret herbs and spices. It's just like I'm dying. The bear picks up a job called model. One of the skills is work it, baby. Basically, the higher skill levels it is, the higher his stat buffs are on his clothes are. I'm just like, oh, why do you stab me with puns? They make me laugh.
I'm smiling, by the way. You can't see. I'm smiling.
It's very good. Like, there's a lot of books, and again, like the series has I think I want to say a fair amount of world building in it. It's just not necessarily all in the same place. Like, there's the Threadbare trilogy, there's apparently a sequel trilogy, but there's also, like, a prequel trilogy, and then there might be, like, another trilogy somewhere else that might be explaining more of these other rules, and some, you know, this is, like, it's not like Fate tier, but a lot of people, you know, talk about, like, the reading order of what you want to do, and I'm just like, nah, I came here for the teddy bear.
Yeah, there's definitely some authors who, like, get really up in the guts about certain series everywhere. Like, there's some... like science or speculative fiction series that are old that I feel like I want to get into. Like I don't know if I ever will, but like you guys on the internet may have heard of Honor Harrington, which is basically just Horatio Hornblower in space. So it's a space navy with a lady captain character. That's Honor.
I do love lady captains.
But and because it's just Horatio Hornblower in space, it's all like space ships of the line, like big broadsides and shit. But it does actually, I believe, have some fairly like realistic physics. Like they talk about how, because of the way inertia works in space, basically what you do is you go up to full steam and then you just coast, and if you don't change your axis of thrust, you will continue at that velocity until you're just out of the fight and have to orbit around.
Yep.
So, but, like, that's really, really long-running, and eventually the author has done, like, spin-offs or done, like, broader scope, stories about other characters. Some authors write, different things in context. I watched, is it actually Alt History Hub? It's one of the big alternate history channels. I saw him do, because I watched the archaeology iceberg video, which I referenced many What's Up moons ago. You should still go check that out. I think I linked it in the live chat for that. And you can find it by searching just archaeology iceberg. Apparently, the alternate history hub guy saw that and liked it, so he did the alternate history iceberg. And I learned that I think it's, yes, it's Harry Turtledove, the American author, who has just written a fuck ton of alternate history series. Like, there's so many entries on this iceberg that are just like more of this man doing fucking more alternate history. And I'm looking on like Wikipedia. It does look like he's got a decent amount of like just trilogies, right? Like, you know, the classic. We're just like, all right, we got a thing. We're gonna do a trilogy or whatever. But also there's some more like 4s and 5ers and shit. It's just like that just happens with some authors. You start expanding the content, getting out there. Hell, I don't even have like full series written, but I keep thinking of more spin-off prose to write for mages.
I'm
thinking about the you know, the young adult mages fiction. I'll be sure to include an artificer who specializes in stuffed animal constructs. That would honestly, I've never tried mechanically to build because Mages 2020 is nowhere near complete. And in Mages at War, it's probably not logistically sound because people don't know what drones are. But I've never actually tried to build the full like you know, pet master mechanical build in the RPG. But that would certainly be something you could pull off with the magic system. It would probably be funny. Well, I mean, no. This is absolutely why people are interested in Gensekai X. Like, it is very much in that vein. It is. I did not know it was called Lit RPG at the time because apparently that was only made up in like, what was it, like 2013?
Something like that.
By like some Russian company. We looked it up. So I didn't know it was called that, but that is definitely the vibe we were going for because I've how much I have referenced how it is explicitly video game mechanic or could be tabletop RPG. I mean, it's kind of both.
I mean, there is overlap.
Yeah, there's some overlap there. For instance, if you've ever played KOTOR, but like how the people in the world are aware of these things is you know, different. While also like having a lot of genuine writing and world building that is unrelated to just making puns, even though I make a lot of puns and jokes. They're called elps and they have different flavors because that's how fucking D&D elves feel sometimes. What elf flavor are you today? I don't know. I'm strawberry shortcake elf. Okay, you get a +2 deliciousness bonus, but you have a weakness to teeth because you're delicious.
That reminds me, one of my favorite things about the Threadbare series is he has the class Teddy Bear, and one of his skills is just adorable, and it levels up anytime he does anything cute. I'm just like, this is pretty good. I love it.
I mean, I feel like that would be a powerful skill to drive your enemies to adorableness.
I mean, it has worked. A lot of mobs and monsters he just talks to. He does something cute, and the enemies just go like, oh, aren't you just the cutest thing? It's kind of great.
Save versus cute attack.
No, so, like, again, like, the Threadbare series right now is hitting a lot of check marks for me. The only one that this one isn't hitting, and the one that actually the Eldest Throne didn't hear is romance. Lucky loves a good romance. I'm like, yes. Lucky is the person who wants to sit in the back and ship everyone and be like, yes, now kiss. And
yeah, I like a good adorable romance arc. I mostly the thing I don't like is I don't like too much drama.
Yeah, no, I don't like drama.
Like it's talking about like love triangles and shit. It's like if you try to like hype up the drama, it's like, well, Black, you're killing me with a melodrama. It's so, you know, staged. But like if you're just like watching two characters slowly realize they have a crush on each other and it's adorable and you're like, yeah, go get them.
This is what I want.
Thumbs up.
By the way, I think that's what we're supposed to be watching as adults. We're supposed to be watching a whole bunch of people being miserable together.
Gee, I wonder what that could mean. Nah, fuck it. I don't want to be miserable. I'm going to watch JoJo. I think that's for old. He moved to a seinen magazine, so.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually. Though, I mean, for considering it was in Shonen Jump, JoJo is fucking gory. Like, talk about shit you do not necessarily, like... There's some stuff that happens in, like, you know, some of the parts of JoJo where I would be like, I do not necessarily know if this is the best to psychologically harden children to. Then again, a lot of the guys who die in part 2 are Nazis, so... Still, no, I don't think anybody deserves to be melted in half by a pillar man. That's just grody. Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I'm just looking at you do the like the different dividers and stuff and like finish the walls. This is definitely an interesting like technique game like tech wise they've done for this to actually let you like basically change your walls, right? Like
yeah.
You can actually like change the wall finishing if you wanted to. more smooth appearance. Interesting. I feel like it might be a little finicky, but
It is definitely a little finicky, but like I said, I'm experimenting with things.
yeah, you know, you gotta touch it, you gotta feel it. Through walls you can face through. So you like cut off the corner.
Whee!
Interesting. Looks a little put together. It's funny. I think I talked about this on something or other, but had the bathrooms redone, tore down some old wallpaper that was in there, and painted them over. So that was, you know, a lot of work in there. We cracked a mirror, unfortunately.
Oh no!
It's my mirror. It's only a little crack. It's not like full blown out, but one of the corners shattered out. Oops. But it is definitely different, like how, like just how like when the mirror was taken out and like it had been freshly repainted and like the wallpaper was gone, like what that did to like change the space. It's all kind of our uniform like off-white color, very similar to these walls. And it's just kind of like weird. Like just even if you're not looking dead in it, like adding a mirror really does make spaces look larger because of the reflections and stuff. And when it's gone, you're just like, oh hey, that's a dead end wall. That just stops right there. Wild. Interior decorating in space. It's a whole thing. The geomancy, the feng shui. I can turn that into a transition into Starcourt.
Do I have anything else to say about Threadbare? No.
Well, I mean, other than listening to Lucky Loth, you could just get in 14 and you could be in. I'm fairly. Lucky is Loth allowed in your kitchen? I
mean, he's logged in. I don't know why he's. Well,
it's assuming because he wants to hear you speaking, but like, what I said, other than that part, you could see all the video content. Dial it down to like 144p or something off. Maximum pixels, because you can literally be in this kitchen with Lucky. You just can't hear him yelling. Is there like, I presume there's probably not like proxy chat. Is there like built-in voice features for 14, or is it all text typing?
I think it's all text typing.
Very classic MMO. The proxy chat thing is definitely something that's definitely been like growing over past few years. More sophisticated audio setups. But yeah, if you don't got any more book juice. I can talk about the other thing I've been spending a decent amount of time chipping on. Like I said, I've had some inkling to do a little bit of writing of something maybe, and I'll see how that shakes out. But I'll let you guys know if I work on finishing any of my Mage's Fiction.
Oh, that's something I did want to talk about. My bad. You just mentioned that. I'm having, like, the thing that I think that's killing me right now is, like, I've been wanting to, you know, write something, like, forever, and every time I keep coming, it's like, oh, man, this really stokes up my writing juice, and then I'm looking at it, I'm like, but it's always hard to put that first, put that first letter to paper.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, like, I'm trying to figure, like, I think the thing that's been bugging me the most right now is I don't know how to plan what I want to write. Because I don't think that me just, you know, doing stream of consciousness onto the paper is necessarily the best idea. That might get a little weird.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like it would need some editing.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I'm a little... Like, recently, I keep wanting to write a...
Sorry, I said I was apologizing to the audience. I'm trying to stroke my chin, but also, like, tilt my head, but not smash my headphones into my mic.
Yeah, please don't smash headphones. That's bad. That's bad, okay?
Loud sound. Oh. But yeah, no, like, my process is usually, like, just through, like, shit I'm consuming, you know, various media. I will get, like, an idea for, like, that's an interesting, you know, concept for an X kind of story. Like, arguably, that's kind of how, like, to keep in mind that I still want to talk about some of the writing I've been doing for Starcourt. That is kind of, like, how that has worked as just, like, I'm just like, man, I really want to do something with a mall, and then I just like sit with that idea until enough of it kind of bubbles up that I have my building blocks. The writing for RPG adventures is very different than writing prose, though. So, like, I talked about last week, for instance, how I, like, halfway through writing this thing, which halfway was still, like, 15 or 20 pages, I was like, yes, now I've discovered what the structure of how I will write this adventure is. With prose writing, your story may or may not have a structure. Like, usually stuff comes clean and it has, like, beginning, middles, and end. When I'm writing, like, short stuff, usually it's more, I just... Like, honestly, the thing that usually comes to me first, especially, like, for instance, with my mages stuff, is just character and, like tone of voice for characters. Whether that's first person or third person or whatever, is just, like, I have an idea to tell, a story about some characters. And then it usually turns into kind of a string of scenes. And usually for me, like, it's kind of funny. Like, my older Mages 2020 fiction, Mages at Law. Like, I know how that story ends. I have, like, it's a mystery. I have all the stuff, like the culprits and the thing. Like, I have all the scenes in mind. It's just actually sitting down and stitching all the bits together. And honestly, sometimes coming up with all the stuff that leads from the point A to the point Z or whatever when it ends. That can be big too. But, like, I arrived at that point by like starting to, like, write characters and stitch scenes together, and then usually at some point I will come up with, like, the actual plot or problem or conflict. It's the same with, like, adventure writing. And then once you as the writer have presented yourself, the writer, with, or even the characters with the problem, then you, like, okay, so how are they going to solve this? At some point, like, I would say, you need to just start, but the question is, like, whether naturally, like, for me, like I said, usually when I start working on, like, character stories or scenes or whatever, like, I start with the basic building blocks, my brain will naturally, sorry, that was very freaky, just fucking going through walls like some
well, yeah,
ghost.
like I said, there's a space behind there, and when I'm in the editing mode, I have no collision, so I'm just all like, whoop, 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 whoop.
I mean, I feel like, not that it would work because I'm sure they're all watching the fucking stream, but I would love for you to prank the fucking Free Company sometime that way. Just, like, yell at them all to come up to the kitchen, and then you just bust out of the fucking wall, like, woo! Cocky Foods at House. Yeah, something like that, Loft. But, like, once you start with those building blocks, for me, my brain will naturally start working on the problem that is presented in the story. Like, to me as a writer, I can't just sit back and be like, it'll eventually figure itself out. Like, if I'm actively thinking about the character in the stories, my brain eventually is just like, okay, where's this going, brain? Like, it'll start to link stuff together. But there's obviously a lot of work to be done in the beginning. So I don't know. I mean, you may have a kind of satisfying aspect to, like, just if you got an idea for a setting, a scene, a character, whatever, like, just trying to get started on it and shake it out. But the question will be, like, as a writer, do you naturally start to plan or not? And I don't know. That's something only you can answer for yourself.
Big self answers.
And obviously, stuff changes partway through. Like, and also, like I said, just because you know how it's gonna result doesn't mean that writing the bits in between is easy. You got to do past stuff. But like with Starcourt, there was definitely a lot of just like, okay, I know what the problem is. I know what my setting is. I vaguely know what characters are involved, some of them, and I have a lot of, like, vignettes and scenes and ideas. How do I stitch this together? And it took me a lot of just, like, scribbling in the, I was basically, like, penciling in the backgrounds before I was like, aha, I've got it. I'll draw a little cabin in the foreground. That'll really tie this painting together. As I grossly mix my metaphors. Don't do that in writing, by the way. It's very confusing, unless you're doing it as a joke. Then you can mix metaphors. But the purpose of a metaphor is to be metaphorical, so if you just make it weird, it's not worth anything. But okay. Starcourt, right. If we want to talk about tabletop stuff. I've been slugging away at it. I think I have finally hit the point where I have all my background that I want, as we were at 27 pages. There's a few stat blocks in there, though, which, like I said, those and some lists that artificially inflate some stuff. But like I said, I think I have all the background and generalities of like this mall, this small town, like the various characters and things. Like some of this shit, once again, you guys probably won't even see. This is definitely not quite the same, like, sit back and, you know, banker box dive files and stuff that I feel like especially Operation Moonrat was very much in a, like, not necessarily linear, because you guys definitely tried to spread your workload, but it was very much a, like, we will continue to shovel in the lore mines until we, like, hit a critical mass of lore, and then we, like, decide to do action on this. There was a lot of background research, a lot of, like, weaving everything together into this narrative, and as you guys even, you know, you the players even remarked, there were some facts which were just background, just color, and then some were, like, actual plot hooks that you could do stuff about.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned into a very classy haunted house dive.
Yeah.
Which was fun. You guys enjoyed it, but
Yes.
this is a lot more, I've said this from the beginning, Starcourt's a lot more atmospheric and vibey. Like, you guys may or may not even be able to, at certain points, like, have the same kind of, like, research direction, though there will still be research opportunities and skills. There will definitely, I think, need to be a little bit more of just, like, okay, you guys are just gonna have to dive into the mall thing and start, like, poking one of these issues. Like, I've already said that one of your mission objectives is going to be that there's supposed to be another DG team who's gone missing ahead of you. So, you know, you'll have a checklist of, like, figure out what happened to character, blah, blah, blah. And, like, some of those things you'll be able to double up. We'll see if you guys feel like splitting the party in a weird mall. We'll see how splitsy you get. Well, we'll see if I force you to split through, like, hypergeometric shenaniganery. One of you goes into the bathroom and comes out in the year 1920. Oh, no! There I'll decide to see how it shakes out when you guys start doing stuff. There may or may not be some save or suck. I don't really feel a need to murderize all of you with regularity. I feel like there are some Delta Green scenarios which feel like they have to go balls to the wall to, like, make all the themes of cosmic horror and nihilism hit, where we just have to, like, oh no, now you have, because you touched the adventure in any way, because you volunteered to show up to this gaming event, you are doomed to die! Woo!
I never understood that. I really haven't.
I mean, I get some of the idea, because you want to make sure, because you're writing, especially if you're writing for, like, scenarios you're selling, right? Like, you're the game developers, you're trying to sell scenarios to get people into the feeling of this game. You want to hit the themes very hard, and you want to make sure, as a writer, you're not doing the thing Omega does, and what you're writing will get used in some point, whether it's as options or straight up, just a little railroady has to happen, because you probably want to hit this one singular set piece. Me personally, I've always been kind of influenced when it comes to Delta Green by a conversation which is recorded. I don't remember which AP it was, but RPBR, Role Playing Public Radio, back when conventions existed, would regularly go to Gen Con, a very big tabletop gaming convention, and would play in games by Adam Scott Glancy, one of the writers of the original Delta Green. Not necessarily Delta Green games. A lot of them are more like World War I era Call of Cthulhu stuff. His company, Pagan Publishing, had a whole Kickstarter, and I think they got the book out. I should pick up sometime because they're really cool. But during one of these games, which are recorded because RPBR does actual plays and stuff, he's having the recording literally starts with one of the other players at the table, who is Shane Ivey, one of the writers on the new Delta Green and one of the head honchos at Arc Dream Publishing, turning to Adam Scott Glancy and saying, "Hey, Scott, I might need some advice on running Delta Green. I have an issue where some of my players are, like, very methodical and surgical about stuff, and I'm concerned I am not giving them the full Delta Green experience because they are not actually getting close enough to get greebled by the monster." And after some jokes back and forth about some infamously lethal Delta Green scenarios like Artifact Zero, where those are explicitly written where if you're slow and methodical, like, the invisible timer catches up to you and bad things happen. Adam Scott Glancy, one of the original writers for Delta Green, says out loud, if the players are having fun, I don't think it really matters if you're just, like, slow rolling. Like, if there's a good sense of tension and everybody's on the same page, I'm not really insistent that they have to, like, jump out and get greebled, right?
Right.
And I've always took that to heart. Because, like, obviously, the shock and awe and the horror is great, and that is certainly part of the writing to have those moments. But also, I think it's just the story is still perfectly serviceable if your characters look at the big yawning door to darkness and be like, well, I'm not fucking stepping in that door. There's bad things in that door. We're gonna dynamite that door. We're never gonna speak of this door again.
I mean, that was literally Operation Moonrat.
Yeah, no, that's how Moonrat ended. Was you guys got to the big spook zone? You know, the apex of the spookening, the central zone of the badness, the bad juju, and we're like, this is bad juju. Let's get the fuck out of here. This place is wrong in so many ways. This sucks. Can we do anything about this? No, but our conspiracy should probably do something about this. Cool, let's leave. Let's fucking leave. Let's go. Let's break the one thing we can break and get the fuck out of here. This place sucks. And no, you guys did not have a horrible, gribbling, cosmic horror encounter with a creature from beyond time and space. But you didn't have to, because I think the punch of just being in this moment, in this set piece, was definitely like, all the characters were like, I don't like this place. We should go. What are you doing? Are you touching something? Don't touch anything. Like, you guys were all on edge, and like, there was a little bit of like concern. There were some chances some stuff could go wrong when you guys were working through what you would actually do. But ultimately, I think it worked out because I got the tension, I got the crescendo, and like, yeah, there wasn't a climax, but there doesn't have to be a climax. We're doing horror and suspense, right? Like,
Right.
It's not like a slasher type thriller, right? Like, you don't need the gory kills. That can be on brand, certainly, and it does happen a lot in the original H.P. Lovecraft material. But hey, a lot of those are not serialized; they're standalone. They're just, of course, the guy goes insane at the end of every H.P. Lovecraft short story, so he can write a new one about something else. There's not a lot of continuity between. Lovecraft wasn't necessarily writing them that way. But with Delta Green, there is actually, like, supposed to be allegedly a gradual grind. Like, eventually, this whole, fighting to save your reality and protect yourself will gradually eat away at you because you are, dealing with problems that are bigger than any one human. And I'm sure it will catch up with y'all eventually, if I can roll dice correctly. But I am not concerned with, like, big, showy save or suck moments like, oh no, now you've walked through this door, you have been catapulted into the Hadean era, and you fall into lava, everything is lava, you die. Oh no, you've accidentally opened the door to outer space, you explode and die. You've woken up Cthulhu, he eats you. Forever. It sucks. Okay, cool, it sucks. Like, sudden twists are not necessarily the payoff I'm looking for, but we can definitely do some gradual spookum, and I've had some fun designing some of the antagonists for this, because we've done a couple of different things. Like, Operation Bigfoot was just, there was one singular gribbly monster, who was a pain in the ass for you to deal with, and figure out, and cover up for. And then Moonrat was more of a, like, a place and a time was your enemy, right?
Right.
Like, you guys are almost, in a sense, having a war with the entire history of that fucking house. And just figuring out, how do we solve this problem? Do we bring enough dynamite? Never bring enough dynamite. The mall will definitely be, I think, splitting the difference between that a little bit of, like, you guys will have much more distinct, defined goals, at least in terms of, like, hey, there's these 4 missing agents, go figure out what happened to them. And if you can, even, are they alive? Are they dead? Are they double dead? Are they undead? Do you have to kill your zombie coworkers? Sand checks all around. Also, definitely embracing the fact that I realized there's no sand check for, like, existential dread. Like, if it's not explicitly unnatural and it's just, like, deeply disconcerting, there's not really a check for that. Like, it's just violence or helplessness. So you can honestly get away with a lot that, like, as players and characters, you're just going to be like, I'm not all right with that.
I think we had a lot of that in Moonrat.
Yeah, and definitely I will keep you some of those themes. What's this? This protein powder is human bone meal? Well, I didn't eat any of it, so it's not a sand check versus helplessness, but it's deeply disconcerting. Burn it to the ground. But definitely going to try some stuff with some different opponents, like maybe some smaller level stuff. I will now post in the chat. I have written something for StatLock. I will post this without context, and I will just deeply unsettle everybody. This is a real ability that exists.
Row close, cosmic horror.
Oh no, not in the tabletop chat. So the YouTube people could follow along.
Ah. Well, I wanted to check in there. I haven't looked.
Oh yeah, no. I also while you were talking about books and stuff, there was I saw a funny image on the internet. And I'm just like, well, I need to cross post this. But yeah, no, this is just one part of the.
There just might be something, walking. What's the word I want to say? Determinedly.
And I feel like this isn't a spoiler because this is just going to be like, you don't know what the fuck this is. You just know that I have words for this, but it can move 100 meters in a round by spending 2 willpower. And you're just like, I don't like that.
I don't.
One of my many bag of tricks. So yeah, like I said, I think I've got all my background stuff done. And then it's just like, and it's very interesting, like honestly, like, especially because I went so ham on that in, Moonrat, I'm kind of surprised at myself. There's not... I feel like this one's going to be a little more tome light and maybe a little more... Not necessarily artifact, but definitely like physical, interactable shit heavy. And if I do some tomes...
I don't know if you should do new. You've been giving us a lot of tomes. Like,
I think there will still be some because I like the mechanic for like doling out certain information. And... rituals like closing the breach can be a very effective way to like give you a possible solution to a problem.
True.
But if I do them, it's going to be very light and very specific. There will not be any more. This takes months to study Giga lore dump documents anymore.
Yeah, about
because I feel like you guys are going to have to chew over those last couple you got for a while. And that is actually what the handler's guide says. It says when you're creating these tomes, you are like putting something that is of important significance. So, yeah, this I definitely want to do a little bit differently because it made sense. There was this big house. They were about the DeLune family was about gathering occult knowledge, right? So It made sense for there to be a lot of these things stacked up. This is a little lighter, though. I can also always tuck in, what we would call false positives. I can treat something. Like a tome, and then it's like, oh no, that doesn't have any unnatural knowledge, but you get something occult points or something in.
True.
As just like there's definitely something I want because this is going to be a large scenario. I don't, especially because you guys will start to like lose willpower and get shittier. I don't necessarily want to make this feel like you have to do everything all at once. Like this is not like Dead Rising. You don't go into the mall at like day 1 and then you don't leave the mall for like 48 hours, right?
Right.
Like it may be possible that at a certain point you're just like, okay, literally the only thing we have left to do is go into the mall and do like 5 things. But I want there to be a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of like come and go and opportunities to like rest, recuperate, etc.
This is gonna be a dungeon crawl, almost. Well, not
kind of, not strictly, but definitely it will have vibes like that. You guys will be able to like poke a couple of plot lines, go to a couple stores, and be like, okay, we're done for the day. We've accomplished an objective. Scratch it off the quest marker. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I didn't mean like dungeon crawl, like, you just keep going down, but, you wake up, you get your breakfast, you put on your gear, we go to the mall, we poke around, we look at the clock, no, it's quitting time. And we leave, come back. That actually sounds fun.
And the mall is definitely the concept of the Mall of the Damned, High Noon Mall, is meant to be like big. There are big stores, there are small stores, there are plot hooks, there are direct through lines with certain like character stories, and then there's actually problem solving. But some of your main problems will also like have to be solved outside. I've got a couple of excuses to, like I said, like even when you're doing main objectives, to maybe be like, wait, what do you mean we have to leave the mall? We thought we were done leaving the mall. We were gonna just like nuke it and go home. Oh, you must... The plot coupons are outside the mall. Fuck. We didn't get all our plot coupons. We can't unlock the secret ending now.
I would like... Oh no, secret endings. My favorite endings. Oh, there.
I don't know if you want the secret ending at Delta Green. The secret ending is probably something like you yeet yourself into the Dreamlands for all eternity. Then it is a dungeon crawl. You're trapped in a weird psychic conglomeration of the human collective and unconsciousness with like weird fantasy tropes and also pulp things.
That doesn't sound the worst.
No, I don't think I can put literal plot coupons. That doesn't actually fit the format of any of the stores. There may be some things that feel plot coupon-y though.
I don't know. You just gotta set up. You just gotta set up the quest kiosk.
That would be a good way to handle some of the subplot stuff. Is like actually have you guys go to a kiosk.
Because that's
Like, there's definitely some weird tropey vibes. Like, you talking about puns. I got a lot of puns in here. Like, everything in this, actually in the mall, is supposed to be, like, weird and self-aware and referential. And it's that combination of, like, nostalgic, but also, like, what the fuck is happening? I do not like this. I have never liked this. What is going on here? I've really drawn on, like, obviously some specific elements. Hey, there's going to be some payphone subplots. Thanks, Ghostwire. Some things are drawn from, like, obviously playing Ghostwire and other things. It's not directly related, but Axe has mentioned before when talking about it, if he was wondering if it was like the Backrooms, which is a internet fiction thing, which is not one-to-one, but definitely, like, I did, like, read up on that concept, and some things may be like that. And when you guys do go into, if you ever go into the back rooms of the mall, the actual, like, utility spaces or back halls, that's a whole thing. How many times have you gone to a store and the guy on the counter's like, let me check in the back? Like, that's gonna fucking solve this problem. So there's a lot of influences. There's a lot of weird stuff. Generally, I never try to, necessarily murderize you guys before we get to the thing. So we'll see how it shakes out. But I've got some different ideas. I feel like as I do more and more of these, I'm growing in terms of, well, I'm definitely growing in terms of scope. Like I said, this one's already 27 pages, and I haven't even, like, drilled down into the actual problem solving. Though I think that will be a little more compact, because those are very, it's like I said earlier, right? Like, my brain is naturally trying to solve problems. Like, writing all the background, doing all the research, figuring all that stuff out was a big deal. Like, trying to figure out my limits. I even said before how I'm like, I feel like I should, or there would be more store names, but I'm calling it at, like, the number I've come up with. Mm-hmm. I think it grew by, like, 2 for symmetry, because I remembered one place I had to detail for a plot hook reason, and then I was like, now it's an odd number. I think it was 27, so I had to add one more, which is Everly and Ivor's dentist office. Yes, there's a dental office in the mall. Are you terrified yet? Do you feel fear?
Yeah, a little.
Well, just don't have a tooth accident. You don't need to go to. That's got to remind me, if I ever do, like, a decent chunk of HP damage all at once, I need to actually make sure, like, yes, you got punched by a zombie or a mannequin. Did 4 damage. You lost a tooth. You should go see somebody about that. At which point the Delta Green agents go like, no. Kara's like, no, I have like 70 in surgery and in medicine. No, I make my own dental prosthesis, thank you.
Actually, I do not have that much in surgery, funnily enough. I only have like 30 in surgery. But it's still 30 in surgery, which is not something normally a person would have.
Yeah, I mean, you could roll it anyway to actually, like, do your own ghetto surgery. I'm fairly certain you would have enough medicine and possibly enough chemistry to actually be like,
not chemistry.
Just give me some fucking resin. I'll do it myself.
Not enough chemistry. No, I have biology. But,
you can always co-op. But yeah, so I'm going to keep chugging away at that one. Hopefully that will go a little faster. Not that we necessarily have to worry about speed, because, hey, a Star Wars AP happened after like 2 weeks.
It was...
Boy, did it happen.
It was something. That's all I...
Yeah, so the raw recording is 5.5 hours long. I won't say it's all the vehicle combat, but it's mostly the vehicle combat.
It's definitely mostly the vehicle combat.
We, as is usual when we have these big, long set-piece scenes that we go through, like, we experience as a unit, we have thoughts and feelings, like, halfway through.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a whole, confluence, the whole thing of, like, different little things coming together to make things happen. I think the general observation you had somewhere about the 2 or 3 hour mark of like, actually no, I think it was later. It was you actually said it out loud, but you were thinking it, I'm sure. But realizing that our action economy got a little weird because everybody was dogpiled into one tank except you. And while you were certainly like impacting that battle by running around like a madman,
Yes.
punching people out of jeeps and stuff, and having me constantly fail to blow you up with mortars or whatever. There was definitely like limited action economy. Some of it was limits to like what you had access to. Like as devastating as it was really spicy when Boots laid that beam cannon on those minion groups. You absolutely should have just taken the twin turret. Boots would have murdered way more guys that way.
Yeah,
he was firing every round.
I would. Yeah, we were thinking about it.
Yeah, like
You know,
the
this is the
like the
thing.
burn and the breach and the high damage, really sick. Slow firing too.
No.
That shockingly, I know it's weird because it doesn't happen a lot, but Fantasy Flight Games actually balanced that gun pretty well. Like, you get one really good zap, which is very good for like an individual, very tough vehicle or like popping minion groups because you're doing damage over time. But it is not good for a lot of different enemies, and like I said, a lot of things added up. First, there was you guys never should have had me roll for NPCs, I guess. But I rolled for clones to stealth, and they did not succeed, despite bonuses. So like you got engaged a little bit early. You know, you managed to cruise through the jungle without any real difficulty. You know, I didn't have to bring out like hardly any of my special tables or results. You know, your navigators did a good job. So you decided to actually like recon the target, and then your guys weren't sneaky enough, barely. Literally, I think it canceled out, so there was like no success or failure. A very near miss. So, you know, the enemy was aware of your presence a little early, so that meant that there was not as much strategery. And then, you know, it just turned into a shootout. Very early, was it a despair result? I think it was a despair result you got. It might have been triumph. No, I think it was a despair result somebody got targeted. You Lucky was like, oh, can we use the wilderness table? What if we had weather happen and everybody gets an upgrade for the rest of the encounter? Us at like hour 1, not realizing how long the encounter would be.
That was the chaos choice.
Yes, and it definitely like there were some interesting moments of chaos, and I think at some points it was really saving your bacon. When I like rolled despairs on like 2 groups of tanks, and you were like, their guns are down, don't shoot me anymore. Shit. But it's funny how, like, as you listen to the night go on, like, the first time I brought it up about the thing, you were like, I don't think 1 upgrade is doing that much. And then, like, 45 minutes to an hour later, you know, when we're like, wait, hold on, is this everything okay? We're rolling a lot of despairs. And I'm like, no, I think we're just rolling that many red dice. It's 1 in 12. How many red dice have I rolled since the last despair? Well, no, that's about right.
Yeah,
Because the upgrade on its own isn't much, but when the encounter was already stretched out that long, and you did it like I think somewhere in the first round,
yeah,
like it was very soon. It really lasts. The impact goes on for a long time. Yeah, hellish is the right word. Another funny thing that happened was that independently and it was not the most effective tactical choice, but role-playing wise, our 2 Jedi decided to both have PTSD attacks like halfway through.
yeah.
So that because you guys are both the command element, that got a little weird. But I think it was an interesting experience, and certainly it was very on point thematically. And we had some moments of levity. When like Boots did in fact crazy good to resist it, so it was like, I'm fine, I roll a triumph. Actually, this snake is my friend now. I'm gonna wear him like a scarf.
That was the best.
You know, and we had our drama as your very good use of the squadron system to have bullet shield tanks, and just like as you get whittled down are just like, yes, this is going bad. Like, I'm trying to think, like, GM-wise, was there anything I could have done to make it run smoother? I guess there could have been less enemies, but you guys also brought a lot of spare guys, so if it had been smaller, I guess I don't know if it would have seemed like it was as big of a deal for you guys to go out here and do this yourself, right?
Yeah, well, that was the thing. I think that was the thing. The main problem is we had this problem. We've had this problem before. I do think that the ability to use our move action to give a NPC a move action is really good.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's like we did have a bunch of one guys just in one tank. And one guy, like I said, this was our own fault, but we had one guy who could only like shoot his gun like once every 2 turns.
Yeah.
And
that really definitely, like, you guys rolled great. You had all your initiative slots, but then when it came to actual time to be, it was like, all right, what do we do? Like, we talked about this in and around the session. Like, you actually jumped off the tank to go do stuff, which did not necessarily have direct impact in you winning the day, but certainly I was like, well, Lucky's out on his own, so let's have some of these other guys like go at him, like metaphysically it certainly distracted some guys and split the enemy attention.
Listen, I took out 2 technicals and got the last hit on the work platform.
Yeah.
Completely by accident, by the way, I almost want to say.
Yeah.
But, I was still out there. I basically split the focus of the attacks, because that was one of the problems that I found is like,
yeah, we did. The fighter tank is good. It was not quite good enough that we could. It was not as tough as a Millennium Falcon. It was not well suited for like eggs all in one basket situation.
See, now, and this is the problem that I was realizing with the fight. In that, how do I want to put this? When you're playing the tabletop. And you do not want to waste your action economy.
Yes, you only get so many actions. You literally only get one action.
And sometimes the action economy does not fit the narrative of the combat, because like I guess I actually have to stop like doing stuff so I can actually talk about this, because I actually have to use my brain. Sorry, so. Because the problem is here we have a tank battle. We have multiple tanks on both sides, right? You're controlling one side, we're controlling the other. Because you are the GM, you have the ability to control all your tanks and make them do something. Because, you're the GM, you're the game master, you set the rules of us. Us as a player, though, we're only allowed to control our players and then, use basically our ability to then command something else. So our ability to do that is much more reduced. So even if at some point we had a numerical superiority, we could not actually bring all our force to bear, because we do not actually have the maneuvers to do that. You don't have that problem, but you have the problem of, if you spend your extra guy actions to shoot NPCs, you're not directly threatening the players. And at the same time,
and especially when, as we discussed with the action economy, those guys aren't necessarily directly contributing, right?
Yeah. So it's like, it's one of those, like, this is what I'm thinking about. There's this dissonance of things. Like, yes, technically we should be having this grand tank battle with tanks shooting fucking everywhere at everything. But because of how the way the combat works, the tanks only basically shot at one tank. Now, thanks to the squadron rules, we could do the thing where it's like, we have clones going, look out, Commander, and just, driving their tank into a shot.
Blocking, or even just, being close to you with a near miss or something. And there were certainly some rounds where everybody was like, I'm not going to use my maneuver. You guys fire. And I have to be like, at points I had to be like, okay, you can't all have the one artillery squad fire. They have slow firing guns, okay?
Yeah, so it's like, it's definitely that thing of like,
yeah, it was a shift back and forth. I would say, like, from a design perspective, if you guys had brought, like, a really big force, we probably would have just busted out mass combat, right?
I'm kind of feeling
this was kind of the point to... Part of the point was to not do that.
Yeah.
And obviously using minion groups with tanks, I basically did the same thing that you guys did, but in a different way, where I had, like, 4 tanks to a block. You guys were... When you were actually able to focus down was fairly effective. I do think the key thing was, with that action economy, you guys were physically limited, as you said, by the vehicle you picked. Yeah. Most of you were in one vehicle, and had several of you were operating slow firing weapons, like, because there was the missile launchers and the top gun was slow firing because you picked that option. And I'm pretty sure there's a rule that you can't use the same, even if it's not slow firing, you can't use the same weapon system twice in the same round. Like, if somebody pulls the trigger on the main main body guns, then you can't also have the co-pilot also pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Just to prevent you guys from like abusing the action economy the other way, where normally, there's only one GM, but there's 4 players, so we can all dogpile our action.
Yeah.
So I think the thing we came to, like you said later, where like splitting it up, even if it was like 2 and 2 or something, there would have been a lot more actions that could be done. But because splitting it up and then using the maneuver to like command NPCs around you, would have given a lot more targets, would given a lot more options, and could have, let you guys do things a little more efficiently. If a vehicle section like this comes up again, I will keep that in mind. I don't know if it will. I don't know the exact details of how I will handle future plot hooks and how they will, be executed. But yeah, it turned into a slow slog where there was certainly a lot of cinematic stuff happening in the background, and I would make sure to occasionally like insert like all the bits flying everywhere. But you are correct. It was definitely at certain points, it was just like, okay, all the enemy tank formations go. Well, they'll fire at you, I guess, because that's what's going on here. Because you guys are spearheading and you haven't told the other guys to move. And some of that, I think, may be from just like I said, technically it's my fault. I rolled the friendly NPC block, but the fight got kickstarted a little early. There wasn't a whole lot of plan. It probably would have been a little more strategery if instead of like going whole hog, run and gun, and me deciding to like throw all the stuff out at you. Like for instance, if we had been like, let's retreat into the jungle, and then we could have had like cat and mouse in the jungle. That could have been like doing like split encounters that were smaller in focus. But it just kind of turned into a slugging match. And of course, we always have this problem. All of us collectively in this game. We're also naive when the combat starts. When the combat starts, we roll initiative. We see that Axe has rolled 50 billion successes. And Dwevu added Force dice, so she can, technically break causality. She can, activate her turn last week. And we're like, we're fine. Everything's fine. And then we actually slug through the encounter, and like, as players and as game master, we realized like, we probably should have thought this through a little bit better collectively. Like, I had some ideas for some tank tactics, but I didn't really use them because I was like, I guess we're just, they've suddenly realized you're up in their grill, so they're gonna like roll out the dudes to meet you, and you guys are gonna roll out your dudes to meet you. Okay, we'll have a slugging match, and then it's like, shit, this turned into a slugging match. This is not the most dynamic set piece I could have done,
Mm-hmm.
And we have done this a couple of times in Star Wars, where it's just like, it'll be fine, and then like 4 hours later, well, it's not fine, but is it fine? We don't know.
It is not what we expected.
Yeah. And there's still like we still have fun, and there's still good bits in there, but there are definitely moments where it's like, I don't know. I think like Axe or Loth was like starting to like hypothesize on something. I'm like, nope, we're 5 hours in, none of that. Just roll dice and we can go home. Lucky has to go to sleep at some point. I have to go to sleep at some point. We do this for 5 hours. Let's go. And it says a lot about how. Let me pull it up. The audio of that, audio edit was. Let me see. How much dead air did I snipper clip out of that one?
Snipper clip.
Scrolling. The funny thing was, it was episode 100, by the way, as well. God, like it's like 2 times this large audio file as our usual ones. Anyway, I trimmed that down to with just like noise cancellation and truncate silence. The audio version of that AP is just 4.5 hours. I cut an hour out of that.
Jesus.
Literally 60 minutes just whooshed. Which can let you know that none of us necessarily knew exactly what we were doing. So it'll be interesting to see. You guys can probably finish off the whole thing in one sesh next time.
I'm hoping.
Depending on what the other stuff goes. We'll see how that shakes out. Then I gotta figure out the siege rating, I guess. Or if Dallas exists, we could take a break for Cyberpunk. I've got that written.
Oh, you got another Cyberpunk one done?
Oh yeah, no, I think I said this before. I've had the next Sprawl thing in the back pocket a couple of months.
Oh, okay.
As usual, that's pre-written. I do not know how writing the siege bit, which is the next one, will go writing-wise. I'm juggling several game projects. Well, Loth, that's a good way to die. I like how it. I don't know necessarily if anybody but Loth, but it seems like your free company's out like doing shit and stuff, and you're just in here decorating.
Well,
arranging
no,
everything.
I mean that's fine. Like again, this is the problem. Like I can't. There's some content I'd be able to brain dead, but not all of it. Like I've been like I've done a lot of my stuff. But like I said, Aresh did most of this library down here.
Yeah. And it's very detail heavy, so I'm sure there was quite a lot of fiddling.
Yeah. Like I said, and like not everyone has permission to do decoration in here because I
do not give Loth permission. He will put piles of cheese everywhere.
Yes. But
doing stuff to be able to buy his own room in the house.
Yeah, that's one of the things you can do. People can buy private rooms in there, and they can go decorate the fuck out of that. But I'm trying to make a fucking kitchen here. There is, we got... Apparently the kitchen uses a lot of cheese and bread.
Cheese. Sometime cream cheese. Oh my god, it is gonna be all Namazu fan. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that's long.
When you're well, actually I don't know if you can access private rooms, but when you're all done, we should absolutely do the MTV Cribs episode.
So yeah, no, I'm just like I'm getting to where I want to be. Like actually, I do like how this kitchen's turning out over here.
Yeah, you got your bar, you've got a little nook here with your stovetop.
Oh shit, that's right. I need to get the bottle racks. I'll figure that out. I can probably stick that over here. I can get 2 of them. Yeah.
Reminds me of the house building expansion in Skyrim. That was fixed, though. That was not freeform. Probably because Bethesda was trying not to melt themselves.
Probably.
Fallout 4 was technically freeform, but it wasn't actually freeform, as Lucky yelled about for hours. Check out that previous What's Up. Compared to that, this seems much more loosey-goosey and actually, like...
Oh, no, this one's actually, like, this...
options.
Like I said, this one, like, ain't the best. It still has some problems, like, with the walls, and you can't actually put shit on top of your loft. But that's about it. That's the only complaints I have. The rest is just, sometimes the coloration. Because, like, look at this little kitchen I built. Like, I had to... Oh, actually, I might be actually be able to add more to it. But, like... I have a little bitty details here, and I'm also like, yeah, look at this. We got some fruits and veggies. I got a pastry cabinet over there, multiple stoves and all that stuff. And then
I think the only issue is just because you have bought the most expensive house, probably aimed for much larger free companies. Every room in here is huge, so you're probably gonna, no matter what, gonna have some dead space because it's probably meant to fit like crowds of people.
Yeah.
But it's still like what you've got looks nice.
Well, that was the thing why we wanted to get a big house and stuff, is because like we want to use that also as a recruitment tactic. Because like I said, we're only like 7 dudes, and like we want maybe want to recruit more people, and the fact that we have a house with stuff in it is always a big selling point.
The swag pad.
It is the swag pad.
The actual crow's nest.
Yeah, we named the estate the Karasu no Sue. The Karasu no Su. Which just literally translates to fucking crow's nest. So it's like, ha 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 ha. Excellent. I need to paint these walls, because this off-white just makes this place feel bare. I'm thinking of red. Some sort of red.
It is a little... For a kitchen, anyway, it's a little...
Also, I gotta like throw some tables and chairs in this middle space. I'll probably put like somebody right here. Do you guys want a snake woman cooking for you? Let's have a snake woman cooking for you. That sounds amazing.
Half cat, half fish, all fish. What?
Oh yeah, no, that's the Namazu description. Do I have a Namazu? Hang on. Let me double check here.
Yeah, Loth said it in chat. Also, Loth, to answer your earlier question, yes. Unless we like explode again, we're supposed to do Star Wars tomorrow. Hopefully we can finish up this silly tank. Now you guys can tackle the worst enemy of all, a slope. Though you do have like 6 downed tanks, so we'll probably do a rebalancing of.
I mean,
what your
listen, we're
force
dragging
is.
all the we're taking the fucking hangar, we're looking at all of it, and I'm leaving a bunch of fucking things back there to fix.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the wind up nom is you. Half cat, half fish, all fish.
Chuckle.
But yeah, so I gotta put some tables in here, some chairs. I gotta get a couple bottle racks because this is a place that serves alcohol. God damn it.
Mm-hmm.
And put some.
I mean, I still don't know what the fuck the state of water purification is in Final Fantasy 14.
I mean, we have Magitech Engineering. I'm pretty sure they got something. I was about to say something fucking, and I'm just like, wait a minute.
Grammar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm probably gonna ditch the part where there's an extra couple of because the snail tank is supposed to for like the snail droid tanks are supposed to be for like riot control and stuff. I'm probably just gonna like forget those are in my notes and just forget vehicle stuff for the rest of. And yeah, it's gonna be like, okay, do you guys want to catapult the remainder of your tanks up this hill against fortified gun positions, or would you prefer to like hike up the volcanic rock by switchback? Possibly Snee? Who knows? We'll see tomorrow. Tomorrow will also be Easter Sunday. Sorry, I'm yawning. 10 o'clock. It's finally starting to get... Somebody will probably yell at me if I say 72 degrees is cool. Listen, 80 when we started this podcast. Oh boy, why is Skyrim trending on Twitter?
I'm not. I refuse. I refuse to participate in this. Oh, I should probably put the bottles. I can. I'll put a bottle on each side of the wall, and then I'll put a little rack, and then I'll put more alcohol on it. Yes, yes. Y-E-S. But I want to put something right here too. Fuck.
Something about maybe some stuff related to ESO. I also see a lot of posts in Spanish that I don't understand. It's apparently meaningless. Like sometimes you can glean from Twitter trending, but other times it's just kind of like chaotic.
Sometimes I think it's just the random algorithm just picking up. Maybe a lot of people are talking about it randomly.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
that definitely happens sometimes.
Like Ubisoft was trending because in a weird statement of absolutely no self-awareness, though I haven't read the actual article fully, so it could just be like a full clickbait, but they gave a quote that somebody still took out of context, which apparently games don't need to be large to be good, Ubisoft 2020, to which everybody is like, yes, this is a thing you Ubisoft needed to say.
Now that I think about it, that is funny to say. Alright, so I got those stones, racks of drugs, grocery bags, dishes, war chest.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a short article. The actual interview is because they've recently announced a program they're calling Scalar, which is apparently going to let them build even bigger worlds. Just like the head of the team developing this, just like, yeah, games don't need to be bigger. And, some games will benefit from them being bigger. So we want to build better tools for that. But, we're not actually going to make everything bigger is better. So it's a perfectly normal like marketing interview or just like comment about technology. But unfortunately, it's very funny to give that quote on the internet when you're Ubisoft. The guys who developed the open world gaming.
Yeah, let's get a vegetable brisket, and I can get a couple barrels, then put them on top of the barrels, and that'll probably be good. Then I just gotta get the bottle racks, then some tables and chairs, paint the fucking walls, maybe throw up some huge portraits, or get some windows. Windows are nice.
You can just add windows.
Yeah, no, it's completely fucking stupid, but it's great. Hang on, let me pull up housing preview. I mean, this is what I mean. Like, it's just great that it just does like, I can just have this window, and it looks like I can't actually place it, but oh wait, and it will just shine light through, and it's kind of hilarious. but you can't put them on partitions. I remember you can only put them on like natural walls. That's
Okay, so there's some kind of logic to it, but still, yeah. And the natural light effect was immediately I was thinking the real Primo thing will be if it actually changes the ambient lighting. So I realized we've been going for so my Discord server mute has ended. The people we posted.
Yeah, like see,
I will say,
like you can see it has God rays just like for no reason.
you know, it's to illuminate the place up. You've got a very cozy lighting scheme right now.
Okay, so let me get 2 barrels, a vegetable basket, and a bread basket, and I need a bottle rack. How do I... Wait, do I have to make the bottle rack? I think I do. Let me see here. Mounted plate rack.
We talked about it yesterday a little bit on Let's Talk, but did launch a new thread under games for fighting games. People mostly appear to be using it to shitpost so far. Posting memes and stuff, but it seemed appreciated. Good. And if people don't use it, it'll go away after.
Shit, now I have to remember what the fuck it's called. Let's see here. Search. Bottle? No. Is it a rack? I have a lot of racks. Let's see what's it. Whoa! This is cool! Actually, this is really cool, actually, but it's really big, too. Shit.
Yeah. Quite sizable.
If like I was making like a dedicated bar, this would be something I want.
Yeah. Definitely like behind a counter. I mean, you could throw it behind the counter here. I wonder how that would look out from the hallway, but it is quite large. More space. You do have a lot of floor space, but it's not unlimited floor space, you know?
Yeah. Let's see, that's the bar rack. That's not what I... Let's see here. Cast rack, shoe rack, spice rack, fabric rack, potion rack, wine rack. That's really small. Dish rack, hand silk rack, cart that's window. Oh, that's why it's correct. Found a plate rack, shirts display rack, apron rack. Oh, it's an apron rack. That's cute. I should put that up somewhere.
But can you get an apron that says "Kiss the Cook"?
Actually, let's see. Did we see anything on them? No, but one has a little chocobo on it, and I would buy the living fuck out of that.
That is adorable.
What was the name of the fucking alcohol? It was actually called alcohol? No. Bottle. Is it glass? No. A shelf? Maybe it was a shelf. The problem about having so many items is sometimes you don't remember what the fuck the item you're looking for is called.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm literally just trying to go through... No, I already used... I'm going through keywords. Let's try wine. No, it's not wine. Wine, bottle, glass, tumbler, container. Bar. Let's try bar. I bet it's bar. There it is, the back bar. That's what I was looking for.
He's found at the back bar.
Yeah, let's see here. So... Yeah, if I put one on either side, that would look probably pretty good. And now I just gotta figure out how to make them. Oh, wait, that's right. I think they're fucking annoying as fuck to make. No, not a bar, back. Back bar. Yeah, I need 6 sets of liquor bottles. I think I have to actually make those. Oh, no, I don't? Sick.
Yes, the bar back is the person.
Yes.
The back bar is different.
I used to be a bar back. Oh. Yeah, do we have anything else we want to talk about?
Nah, I scratched up everything on my list. We've been here for 3 hours. We're just muttering about bottles and stuff now and yawning.
Big yawns. I'm actually getting kind of hungry. Oh no, Let Me Solo Her has been trending for days. IGN actually did a full article on that. And, you know, I'm okay with it. I actually love hearing the story of Let Me Solo Her. I think it's amazing. Doesn't make me think any better of Elden Ring, but does make me think makes me think better of Elden Ring players.
Yeah, there's sometimes there's always a few things that rotate in and out. Like I've been seeing, assume it's because the story just dropped. Arknights has been kind of like off and on Twitter trending for a little bit. Fate actually has.
Mm-hmm.
It's never like FGO specifically over here. It's usually Fate in general. So I'm not sure whether it's just like a fan art bomb or like other various things on. We did get a little scooped. FGO did actually announce a timeline for the Guda Guda rerun and for Fate Requiem collab.
Yep.
The collab will be, I think, the 6th month. Yeah, so expect that pregame the 29th. But you know, it's just like general announcement news, and we were at least being like, those will happen next, everybody. Be the deets. Learn about board game Requiem or whatever the fuck they called it. Board game apocalypse. No, it is actually It's board games of the apocalypse, right? Thank you, brain.
Good job.
Yo, well.
Oh, sweet. There's a vegetable basket. I need one of those.
But I'm okay. You were also okay with wrapping up the show. Still got to go out there and get my last bit. Well, I mean, Lucky got added yesterday, so I assume he's logged in.
Yeah.
The attening will continue, even possibly in the wrong channel, Robin. I saw it. I didn't say anything, but I saw. But yeah, I've got flamethrowers to unlock, so if we're ready to get out of here, we can wrap it up for the evening. Lucky, some snacks.
Yeah,
I'm not shocked you're hungry. You've been building a kitchen for 3 hours.
Yeah, no. Let me see here.
So if we're good, I can do the outro.
Please.
Okay. Sorry, I was stretching my bones, preemptively stretching. Everybody remember to stretch. So, if you're watching this video on YouTube, be sure to give it a like if you liked it. You can also leave a comment down below. Feed the algorithm. Trend us out there. I don't think I know a lot of people will be necessarily clicking on a video to watch Lucky do interior decorating in 14. Or will they? Who knows? I assume it is popular right now. I did see 14 trending for, like, no specific reason also over the past couple of days.
It's just people yelling. It really is.
Well, yeah, I assume it's yelling about housing, but mostly when I click on it, it's just, like, random screenshots or memes or fan art. So, like, Twitter doesn't necessarily own up to why it's trending. It's just, like, people are using this word a lot. But yeah, give us a lick. Leave a comment. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. We did get 1 sub off the last Let's Talk, so we're not quite at that magical 50 number. But, you know, help me out here. Give me a round number. And then make me go even beyond the round number. In fact, I dare you. You won't embarrass me by increasing this to a very large non-even number. So, you know, get those sub numbers up. Make sure you've got the bell rung for notifications so you always know when we post a new video. Check out our Discord, link in the video description and on our channel page. You too can join our fighting games thread under games and yell about whatever fighting games you like.
Wow, wine barrels are expensive.
Shocking. Nobody. I assume they're... Well, you can't drink it probably because the game's not that deep, but I assume they're meant to be barrels that include the wine.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So, that makes sense. You should also consider supporting us by joining our channel memberships. Click the join button or the link in the description. You get access to membership badges and emotes. Usually somebody will shout out those once the lag catches up, but it's a cool way to support us, and the more members we get, the more emotes we get.
Yay.
And of course, like I said at the beginning of the show, consider supporting us on Patreon and give this episode in audio format for as little as $1 a month or about $10 a year. And some of those awkward pauses will be edited out, so it's, you know, compact. It's like the magical removing an hour from the AP. At higher levels, you can vote in topic polls. I still do got a few days on that fail portrayal poll if you want to get in that. If you can fight the power of sports. UA is currently winning, but yeah, join us on Patreon for higher levels. You can listen to Let's Talk FGO live. and lots of other good things, on-air shoutouts and more, and it really helps us out and supports us in purchasing games to stream later.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me.
Later stream.
I think my game was delivered. I should probably go pick it up at some point.
And yeah, that's all the outro. So that's everything there. As Lucky gets a very large venture accomplished. Bloop.
All right. We out, everybody. See you
Mission
next time.
accomplished. See you next time.